I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. I got love, peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
Hello and welcome back to my channel, Fanfic Fantasy. Join us as we delve into the realms of fanfiction and fantasy, bringing you the best stories and discussions. Today, we're kicking off the first part of our series, What If Madara Was in High School DXD? If you enjoy this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content in the future. The author of this story is the Uchiha Wannabe from ff.net. All the relevant links are in the description. Feel free to say hello to the author on their profile. Now, let's dive into the fanfic. Speech: do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts: is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do. Fire style fireball, just do. As Team 7 successfully defeated Kaguya Otsutsuki, we find a depleted Madara laying on the ground, just barely hanging on to life. The hard concrete floor underneath his pale white skin and the cool breeze being the only things he can feel. HMNP looks like I failed again was the thought that kept ringing in his mind. He slowly moves his eyes down and notices someone approaching him. At first he can't make out who it is, his vision still being blurry by the intense use of his eyes, until he takes another look and finally sees that it is his one and only friend Hararama Senju. Is that you, Hashirama? Madara weakly said. I guess neither you nor I could achieve what we wanted. Hashirama replied, it's never that easy. Our job is to do all that we can while we're alive, and then bequeath the rest for future generations to accomplish. Hashirama stated. So naive ... As usual, Madara replied, you ... were always ... the optimist. But perhaps that is the correct path. Play Akame ga kill lost. I've got to go home. My dream ... was squashed. But your dream still lives on, Madara stated. We were both too hasty. We didn't need to fulfill our dreams ourselves. It was more important to cultivate those who would come after us ... to whom we could entrust our dreams. Hashirama replied, which means I would have failed anyway, since I always hated someone standing behind me. Madara stated. When we were kids ... you once said we're shinobi, and we don't know when we'll die. And that for neither side to die, we'd both have to reveal what's inside of us and pour each other drinks to toast like brothers. But we're both about to die. Right now, we can drink together as war buddies, replied Hashirama with a soft smile. War buddies ... huh? Well, I guess ... that's okay ... by ... Madara concluded, slowly closing his eyes, never to return to the shinobi world again. End song. Few moments later, Madara's spirit is floating in the vast void of the afterlife. However, it feels like something is holding him back. It is as if some force doesn't want him to transcend further, until he feels a violent pull on his spirit, and it is moving towards a light. As his spirit is being pulled, the light grows larger and larger until it completely swallows him up. Wake ... up, wake ... up, wake up. A voice shouts at him. Madara's eyes shoot wide open, his senses slowly stabilizing until he can see he is a dark room. Where am I? Madara questions until he hears a voice behind him. You are in my domain, reincarnation of Indra, but perhaps I should call you Madara Uchiha. As Madara struggled to stand up, he looked behind him, and when he noticed who it was that was speaking, his eyes slightly widened. Hagoromo Otsutsuki, the sage of the six paths, Madara replied, slightly surprised. Hagoromo was just levitated there, looking down on Madara like a disappointed parent looking down on their child. Tell me, Madara, are you satisfied with how you lived life? Madara gave a deep sigh. I suppose not, sage, for once I will admit I was wrong, Madara replied as he was reflecting how his life unfolded. Hagoromo gave him a soft smile. Tell me, ghost of the Uchiha, what do you think is necessary for peace? Is it love or strength? Madara's eyes drifted to the side. As I look back at my life, sage, and saw what has happened, I believe both love and strength are required for peace. Hagoromo was left stunned after Madara's answer. Not possible. Indra and Asura could have never come together. Hagoromo rebuked. You never tried, was all Madara said. Hagoromo was left speechless as he looks back at it. He does come to the conclusion that he never really thought of both his sons working together and becoming his heirs. Impossible. You cannot have such dominate forces coming together as one, Hagoromo replied, pleading his case. Madara looked at him dead in the eyes. Nonsense. Look at what coming together versus separation has brought the world. When we were united, instantaneous peace was born and the flames of war were silenced. Me and Hashirama were able to build a village and the other nations followed suit. That Uzumaki and Uchiha brat were able to defeat your mother, stop the infinite Tsukuyomi, and foster world peace, and you sage were able to do the same with your brother. Now when we are divided, hatred is born, war becomes the norm, and pain is a common emotion. Hagoromo pondered on Madara's words. Have I really been such a fool as to not notice that both are necessary? Hagoromo thought. What's the point of having strength if you do not have the love to use it correctly, as well as what's the point of having love if you do not have the strength to show it? Madara continued. Those words burned themselves into Hagoromo's mind. What's the point of having strength if you do not have the love to use it correctly, as well as what's the point of having love if you do not have the strength to show it? Those words kept ringing in his head. Regardless of what you say, Sage, all the shinobis that had Asura's chakra were noticeably powerful. It is true they believed in love, but they also required strength to make a difference, so I stand by my initial statement. Both strength and love are necessary for peace. Madara concluded. Hagoromo was left speechless until he broke out a large smile. Perhaps he deserves another chance, Hagoromo thought. What's so amusing? Madara demanded, noticing Hagoromo's smile. I'm gonna give you a second chance, Hagoromo replied with a wide smile. Come again? Madara questioned. I'm gonna give you a second chance at life, however it won't be in the shinobi world. I will send you to another universe and to another world to see if you can foster world peace. Madara's eyes went wide. You must be joking. Madara replied. And this time I'm giving you the other half of my power, more techniques, more justus, more forms, and more summonings. I believe after what you said, I can fully trust you with my power, and more to become the second and a greater sage of the 6 paths. Hagoromo concluded. What a minute, you aren't joking. Madara replied. An inner part of him was getting excited to start anew and reconstruct his dream. However, I must warn you, the world I'm sending you to is completely different to the shinobi world. The social structure and beliefs are different, as well as there are more powerful beings in that universe. Hagoromo explained. Now Madara was getting really excited. He always enjoys strong opponents. HMNP, bring it. They do not know who I am. Madara stated. Hagoromo gave him one more smile. Perhaps he can do better this time, Hagoromo thought pleasantly. He placed his hands on Madara and transferred his power to Madara. Alright then, go ahead and change the world, Madara. I will be watching you. Madara woke up on a park bench with nothing but his pants on, his senses slowly returning to him. As he starts to stand up, he begins to scan the environment. He can see objects moving around with an impressive speed, and what interests him the most about these objects is that he can see people inside them. What are these things? Some sort of summonings. Madara questioned. He takes another look and notices building reaching to the highs of the heavens, and people wearing clothes he is not familiar with it. Where am I? Madara questioned. You are in the world I sent you to. Remember, a disembodied voice replied to Madara. Is that you, Sage? Are you communicating me via telepathy? Madara questioned. Seems you are as sharp as ever, Madara. But back on topic, as I said, this world is different from ours. Majority of the humans you see around you have no chakra or special powers. Technology has developed beyond your comprehension, and how society functions is different. So I advise you to educate yourself as quick as possible of the psychology and structure of this world. Alright then, I will leave you to it. Hagoromo concluded. Fascinating. Let's see what this world has to offer. Madara slowly started to stretch his body, getting his blood flowing. Then he leaped to the tallest building to examine the rest of his surroundings. There must be a library somewhere around here, Madara thought, until he saw a building at the corner of the street filled with books. Perfect, he said. He jumped down into an alleyway opposite the library, and he waited for the owner of the library to come out and close shop. When he notices a short bald man come out and stand behind the door taking out keys to lock the door, Madara teleported behind him, karate chopped him behind the neck. He then grabbed the unconscious library owner's body, dragging him back into the library. He made sure to close the door behind him to indicate the library is closed. He entered a room and found shelves filled with books and information. Madara began to stretch his neck and activated his sharing, and let us begin was all he said. Times 12 hours later, Madara is sitting on a chair with one book in one hand and another book in the other hand, being surrounded by mountains and mountains of open books, all of which he finished reading. He threw the last 2 books on the pile and digested the information. Truly a fascinating world I am in. However, now it would seem that I require a source of income in order to survive, he said. He went back to the room where he left the library owner, grabbed a bucket and filled it with water, and splashing it on the library owner's face, effectively waking him up. The library owner's eyes shot wide open, and he notices a half-naked man looking down at him with red eyes. Genjutsu was all Madara said, and he demanded the owner give him his wallet, valuables, and credit card information. After receiving all of this, Madara quickly headed to the nearest clothing store, paying for a plain formal shirt and black formal shoes, then went to the nearest restaurant to grab a bite to eat. He then went to a 4-star hotel to book a night to rest. As he entered, he scanned the room for any threats. After noticing none, he then proceeded to take a shower and groom himself in the mirror. But when he saw himself in the mirror, he noticed that he was younger. Much younger. If you were to take a guess, he would be in his mid to late 20s. He was shocked, but decided to brush it off, go to bed, and rest. The next morning, Madara woke up from his sleep and positioned himself upright, then took a meditation position to think about what his next plan of action is. Alright, I have secured funds for now, however I require a more suitable headquarters. Something bigger and better than just a room, he told himself, and with that being said, he grabbed his clothes, checked out the hotel, and began to explore the streets of Japan. Play Naruto Shippuden Sasuke theme. Haku Madara spent a large majority of his day exploring the streets of Japan and studying the daily lives of the people of this world's society. As he continued walking, he noticed a young girl in the streets begging for some spare change and food. When Madara approached her, he saw a young beautiful girl with long silky blonde hair that reached to her back. Innocent emerald green eyes. She was wearing a nun outfit, which Madara found ridiculous. End song. Excuse me sir, could you please donate some money or food? It will be greatly appreciated, the young nun begged. This is ridiculous. Pull yourself together, child. Have you no dignity for yourself? Madara replied. The young nun was shocked by his words. This was the last thing she was expecting. How could you say that? Can't you see this is my only option? I have nothing else, the young nun shot back at him. Pathetic. All I see is a child giving up and resorting to begging instead of fixing her situation. Let me educate you a bit, child. We do not choose our beginnings, however the direction our lives is for us to decide. Pick yourself up, dust yourself, and go live a better life, was all Madara said as he continued on his path. Wait, Madara felt his arm being grabbed by someone. As he looked to who grabbed him, he sees that is the young nun. No one has ever talked to me like that. Matter of fact, no one has talked to me, period. They all just look at me like I'm some virus and throw crumbs at me, but you on the other hand are the only one that took an interest in me. The only one to talk to me. I need to know who are. The young nun was interrupted by the growling of her stomach. She looked down to her feet and a red tint filled soft cheeks. She was so embarrassed. Perhaps you do need some food and stomach, Madara said. The young nun meekly nodded. All right then, come along, child. Let's get you something to eat. An hour later, we find Madara and the young nun in a restaurant, with Madara comfortably leaning back and enjoying his wine while the young nun is stuffing herself with as much food as possible. Madara just observes her, impressed that so much food can fit in that body of hers. The young nun finishes her last dish, adding it to the already enormous pile of empty plates that is besides her. Thanks for food, she said with a bright smile on her face. Madara just chuckled at her. Now allow me to make a formal introduction. My name is Madara Uchiha. And you are? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Sorry? I'm Asia Argento. I'm so grateful to meet you, Mr. Uchiha, she happily replied. So tell me, child, what is your story? One backstory later. And that's how I ended up on the streets. Because the church would not accept a nun that can heal devils, she concluded with a sad smile. Madara raised his hand to his chin. Truly this is interesting. So this whole angel and devil thing I read about before is real ... I need more information, he thought to himself. It would seem life has dealt you a bad hand. However, raise your head, child. I can see you still have dreams. Hold on to them and go change your life, child. I wish you luck, Madara replied. He then stood up, finished his glass of wine, paid for the bill, and left the restaurant. As he was on his way, Madara heard something in the distance. Wait, a voice shouted at him. As he looked back, he saw Asia running towards him. What is it this time, child? Madara asked, slightly annoyed. Let me come with you, please. You are the only one that spoke to me. The only one that accepted me. The only one after the church to feed me. The only one that hasn't judged me, and the only one who even had time to listen to my story. You have basically saved me. Madara stood there just listening. I haven't eaten in weeks. If it weren't for you, I would be dead or would have been taken advantage of. I beg of you, please do not reject me. I will do anything you ask, and I will follow you anywhere. All I ask is that you stay with me, Mr. Uchiha, Asia pleaded as tears started running down her cheeks. You willing to follow me in my dream? He asked. I will do anything to make you happy. I hate being alone, she replied. Very well then, come along, child. Asia looked up to him and gave him the brightest smile she could muster. I guess I will try to make allies this time. In order to bring peace, I suppose this is a better way. Isn't that right, Hashirama? Madara thought to himself. Big brother, big brother, big brother. Madara finally looked down at Asia as she interrupted his train of thought. What did you call me? He questioned. Big brother Madara, she said enthusiastically. Or are you not happy with that? Is it too much? I'm sorry, Asia said, lowering her head. I haven't been an elder brother in quite some time. Madara thought to himself. Call me what you wish, child. I don't mind, Madara stated. Then he kept walking on his path. Wait for me, big brother, Asia said, smiling and running to catch up to him. A few hours later. I see. The problem is, I just do not have enough money. However, I thank you for your time. We will be leaving now. That was all Madara said as he exited an office with Asia close behind him. Wait, are you telling me you broke big brother? Do we have to now sleep in the streets? Asia was questioning her now older brother. Wait for it. Was all Madara said. Huh? Wait for what? Asia asked, slightly confused. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Madara finished the countdown in his head. He then turned around and saw the person he was negotiating with earlier. Wait, perhaps we can work something out, said a young woman. She was about 5 feet 5 inches. She is black but with a light skin tone with a curly-haired afro and light brown eyes. She has a voluptuous body structure with a G-cup size and a large ass. She was wearing a gray crop top with black jeans that complemented her curves. What else can you offer me, Mr. Uchiha? The landlord asked Madara. I can offer you many things, Ms. Nikki Jackson, Madara calmly said with a smirk on his face. She had a slight blush on her face. You know he is kinda sexy, she thought to herself. Perhaps I can help you with some unpleasant tenants. It is clear that your apartment complex is surrounded by violence, underage sex and drugs. And to sweeten the deal, I will make all unpleasant tenants pay all the rent they owe plus interest if you make me co-owner and offer me and Asia a 4-star apartment. Madara replied. Deal. Your room is 508, she said. Good. Please take Asia to our new apartment and give her the keys while I deal with unwanted trash. Nikki didn't waste time. She grabbed Asia's hand and guided her to the apartment. Alright then, let's. What's the problem? Madara said to himself. He leaped to the second level of the apartment complex and reached a door of a certain apartment. He kicked the door down and noticed the apartment was a mess. Play Naruto Shippuden Sasuke theme. Haku. The air was full of smoke from the drugs being burnt and the scent of alcohol. As he started to walk in the apartment, all he saw were passed out drunk college kids on the floor. On his left, he noticed a young girl being bent over the table and being fucked from behind by a much older man. To his right, he noticed a group of students sniffing cocaine and popping Xanax. As he continued walking, he came into the living room and noticed a group of male students gang-banging 2 college girls while listening to some hip-hop and trap music. Disgusting, he said to himself. He grabbed one of the male students by the neck and pinned him against the wall. Who of you here own this apartment? Madara demanded. I man, who the fuck do you think you are? One male student said as he approached Madara from behind. Your worst nightmare, was all Madara said as he backhanded the male student and he flew into the speaker system, effectively killing the music and song. Everyone stopped what they were doing and focused all their attention on Madara. Now I will ask again, who among you owns this apartment? One of the male students tried to jump him, but Madara simply throwed the student he already had pinned against the wall towards the other student that was trying to jump him, effectively knocking them both out. Oh my god, Tom. Hey asshole, I really found that guy cool. The female student was interrupted as Madara just slapped her across the face. Silence, child, he calmly said. Hey asshole, that's my sister, you just SLA. The other female student was interrupted as he also slapped her across the face. Get that son of a bitch, one of the male students shouted. One of them tried to sucker punch Madara from behind, but he grabbed the attacker's arm, outstretched it, and used his other arm to punch the attacker's arm, breaking his elbow in the process. Then he punched him directly in the nose, giving the attacker a broken and bloody nose. Another attacker came rushing in, but Madara quickly span around him and kicked the attacker in his back, causing him to fly through the wall. Another attacker tried a flying kick, but Madara already saw this and simply moved out the way, causing the attacker to fly out the window due to his own momentum. Everyone else started to tremble before him. Who is this guy? One student asked. Fuck if I know, some kind real life Bruce Lee, another student replied. Madara quickly dashed in front of one of the students and grabbed him by the neck and was slowly choking the life out of him. I'm going to ask this one more time, who of you here owns this apartment? Madara demanded, his voice sending an intense wave of killing intent. Everyone was scared for their lives, and the student who was being choked started to shit himself. Madara noticed this. Pathetic, was all he said as he tightened his grip on the student's neck. It's Kazami's place. He is in the first room on your left, down the hall. The student, barely able to speak, answered his question. Good. Now get out, all of you, Madara demanded as he threw the student that was in his grip out the door. Everyone else didn't waste time and followed his command. As Madara made his way down the hall, he saw the room of his interest. However, he heard 2 voices coming from the room. Please, Kazami, stop this. I don't want to do this. Come on, baby, trust me. It's not that bad. I will be gentle, I promise. Please, Kazami, stop. Stop it. Shut up, bitch, and just let me have my fun. As Madara made his way to the door, he noticed it was locked. He then proceeded to kick the door down and noticed 2 students in the room, a girl on the bed with a male student on top of her. Are you the one they call Kazami? Madara questioned as his eyes were moving around, scanning the room he just entered. Yes, so what of it, punk? Kazami replied, "You are being evicted," Madara calmly said. "Say what now?" "Hey, listen here, old man, I don't know what you talking about, but you better." Kazami was interrupted as Madara dashed to the bed, grabbed him by the neck, and started dragging him out the room. "I said you are getting evicted, so please vacate the premises," Madara stated as he was starting to choke Kazami to death. "Do we have an understanding?" Kazami nodded his head as fast as he could. "Good," was all Madara said as he threw Kazami out the window. Madara dusted off his hands, was about to leave until he felt someone grab his hand. Excuse me, sir, thank you for saving me just now." It was the girl Madara saw in the bedroom. She was about 5 feet 4 inches with pale white skin. She had black pigtailed hair with each tail reaching her upper back. She had dark violet eyes. She had about C-cup size and firm and perky ass. She wore a white shirt with black text on it that said "fuck the system" that only reached down to her upper stomach, and she also wore black miniskirt. She had a tattoo of a flaming skull on her right thigh and a nose piercing. "Leave," was all he said. The girl was slightly hurt by his words, but she gathered all the resolve she could and continued with the conversation. "You see, the problem is I have nowhere to stay. I am only able to pay off my college fees by selling drugs, and that bastard Kazami allowed me to stay here because I was too good at selling drugs for him." She replied to him, "Then get a job," was all he said. "No one is willing to take a drug-selling college student who looks like a punk," she replied. "But perhaps you wouldn't mind me staying with you. I will make it worth your while." "Big boy," she gave Madara a seductive look. "Like I said, leave," Madara said again, getting slightly annoyed. "Okay, look, right, my parents died when I was about 15. I have been living in the streets my whole life since then and have lived a very bad life, okay? The only good that has come into my life is the fact that you busted down the door and saved me from getting raped. You have essentially saved me, and I feel like sticking with a guy like you. My life can finally change for the better. I want to return the favor of you saving me by sticking by your side and helping you any way I can, so please, mister, take me with you. Are you willing to serve under me and help me fulfill my dream?" Madara questioned her. "Sure, why not? I owe that much at least." She replied, "The name is Madara Uchiha. Try and keep up, Asuka Toriyama. Lead the way, Madara." But before Madara left, he went back to Kazami's room as he remembered there was a safe beside his bed. He took a glance at Asuka and she knew exactly what he meant. "The password is 22,579, she answered him. As Madara punched in the code and opened the safe, what he found was a war chest of valuables. Perhaps the drug business does have its benefits," he thought to himself. He grabbed the 2 duffel bags that were across the safe and started filling them with money, gold, and jewelry. He took 2 stacks of cash and threw it to Asuka. "Go and sort out your debts and then return to me. I will be in apartment 508, Madara told her, and with that being said, she followed his instructions. Madara grabbed the 2 duffel bags and proceeded to his apartment. A few moments later, Madara reached the door of his apartment and started knocking on the door. Just a minute, a voice could be heard within the apartment. The door opened and Madara noticed Asia wearing a white apron that said "fuck you and eat my cooking." Madara raised an eyebrow at this. "Oh, big brother, you back?" Asia then proceeded to embrace her older brother in a hug. She then made room for him to enter. As he made his way to the living room, he noticed Nikki Jackson sitting comfortably on one of the sofas. Madara simply went single sofa seat and placed the duffel bags at his feet. "I assume you the one who influenced Asia to wear that apron?" Madara questioned Nikki. "She is just so cute and innocent, I just had to." Nikki smiled with a mischievous grin. "What, do you not like it, big brother?" Asia asked, seeking her older brother's approval. "No," Madara simply said. "Then if big brother doesn't like it, I don't like it," Asia stated as she gave back the apron to Nikki. "You just had to ruin my fun, didn't you?" Nikki said with a fake pout. "Let's us get back on topic. I dealt with that unwanted trash of yours and brought back something to brighten up your evening," Madara said as he put one of the duffel bags on the table in front of him. She stood up and went to open the duffel bag, and what she saw inside completely blew her mind. "How?" she asked, dumbfounded. "I am the Uchiha. I always get things done, Ms. Jackson," Madara calmly said as he rested his right cheek on his right fist. Nikki started to bite her bottom lip when looking at him. "Call me Nikki. You know I really love a man that can get things done," she said as started to lick her lips and seductively approach Madara. What are you planning?" Madara questioned her as he noticed her approach him. Nikki said nothing as she was now sitting on his lap, her body facing his, and she started to wrap her arms around his neck. I never really did embrace the touch of a woman back in the shinobi world. Maybe this time I should change that, Madara thought to himself as he let Nikki kiss him. At first it started off awkward due to his lack of experience, however he began to understand that he must apply more effort. He then grabbed Nikki's ass and began to deepen the kiss. Nikki was taken aback by this sudden change but very much enjoyed it. He then begins to bite Nikki's bottom lip, which gave her a surge of pleasure, and bliss. Lust started to take over. She couldn't take it anymore. She wanted him, and she wanted him badly. The hunger was consuming her, just as she was about to undress. Excuse me, do you two still realize that I'm right here? Asia interrupted them with a bit of an annoyed and jealous tone. They both completely stopped and Nikki got off Madara. She placed a finger on her lip, still feeling the pleasurable pain from Madara's kiss that was heaven, she thought to herself. She then grabbed her duffel bag, took one more look at Madara and gave him a wink. I will see you later, daddy, she said to him, and then walked out the apartment. Asia, earlier today you told me that you had some sort of healing technique. Would you mind showing me? Sure, I don't mind, big brother. Madara then stood up and went to the kitchen to get a knife. Once he got it, he sliced open the palm of his hand, causing large amounts of blood to escape. Asia quickly rushed to her elder brother and started using Twilight Healing to close the wound. Honestly, big brother, you didn't have to be so extreme. Madara just stayed silent and observed. Impressive, her healing ability is close to that of Hashirama's. Knock knock, enter. Hey Madara, I'm back. Thanks for allowing me to sort out my money problems. They were becoming a real pain in the... why is there a nun here? Asia, this is Asuka. She will be living with us. I am Madara's little sister. But you guys look nothing alike, and also you a blonde. It's a long story, Madara said. Everyone now moved to the living room and took a seat. So what's next? Asuka asked. I need to learn more about this supernatural world I read about, Madara replied. Why? It's all just a bunch of myths and fairy tales. Not necessarily. There is more to this than you think, Madara responded. Whatever. Personally, if you ask me, I think this is just a waste of time. Asuka then got up and went to go take a shower. There was a short silence until Asia decided to break it. Big brother, can I ask you for something? What is it? Could you register me into a school? A school, you say, and what would be the reason for this? I want to know how it feels to be a normal girl, and to make friends with people my age. When I was alone with Nikki, she told me there is a school called Kyo Academy that I can try to register to. This might be a good thing for the time being. The school will keep her occupied and I won't have to babysit her. Madara thought to himself, an excellent idea. Asia, we will go register you tomorrow. Asia then ran up and gave her older brother a tight hug. Thank you so much, big brother. I will make sure to do my best. Madara then got up and went to his bedroom to rest for the night. The next morning, Madara woke up and was about to get out of bed but felt something weighing him down. When he removed the blankets, he saw Nikki sleeping peacefully on top of him. How did you get in my apartment? Madara asked, slightly annoyed. Well, good morning to you too. And to answer your question, I always keep a spare key of my tenant's apartment, Nikki replied with a wide grin. Nikki then positioned herself so her face would be facing Madara's face. How about we pick up where we left off, huh? Nikki said, giving Madara a seductive look. Madara just used two of his fingers and flicked Nikki in the forehead. Now is not the time, boo. Owe you not any fun, Nikki said with a childish pout. Madara then got out of bed and went to go take a shower. As Madara made his way down to the kitchen, he could see Asia waiting patiently for him, and Asuka making breakfast. It's about time. What was taking so long, big brother? It's not important. Are you ready to go? Hold on, you two have some breakfast before you leave, Asuka interjected. Asuka then gave both of them a plate of some classic eggs and bacon with some buttered toast. So, how is it? This is quite Madara was interrupted by Asia's response. This is amazing. You have got to teach me your secret. Sure, I don't teaching you, Asia. As Madara observed the back and forth between Asia and Asuka, he thought to himself, the last time I remember having breakfast like this, I was still a young child. How time has passed, and with that he finished his breakfast and walked out the door, not waiting for Asia to waste more time. As Madara and Asia reached the gates of Kyo Academy, Madara completely stopped where he stood and remained completely still. Something seems off about this place, you can feel it too, huh? Is that you, Sage? How else would it be, Madara? But never mind that. There is some sort of strange energy in this place, not only that there seems to be multiple signals of the same energy. That is true, Madara. Proceed with caution. Also be on alert, you being watched. You mean the redhead girl in the window? I knew she already was watching me. I suppose only a fool would doubt you. However, here is a tip. Try activating Sage Mode. It will assist you with your sensory abilities, and it shouldn't be that difficult since you used Hashirama's Senjutsu before. What's wrong, big brother? Is something the matter? No, let us continue, Asia. Few minutes later, we find Madara and Asia and the principals completing the registration forms. Alright, Asia, it seems that you are now a full-time student at Kyo Academy. Now if you are to please come with me so we can find a uniform that can suit you. Asia then looked directly to her elder brother, seeking his input. Go ahead, Asia. You will find me here waiting for you. And with that being said, Asia got up and went with the principal to find a suitable school uniform, leaving Madara to himself. Now let us figure out what is this strange energy. Madara then began to close his eyes, control his breathing, and didn't move a single muscle in his body. After a short while of gathering natural energy, Madara seemed to obtain markings on his face. After entering Sage mode, Madara sensing greatly increased. This energy I felt before, it seems dark, corrupted and chaotic. Also it doesn't seem human. Wait a minute, one of this signals is closing in on my location. Knock knock. Enter, Madara said after deactivating Sage mode. Good afternoon, sir. Would you please come with me? My club president would like a word. The door was opened by a handsome teenager. He had silky blonde hair, light blue eyes, and a mole underneath his left eye. He was dressed in the male uniform of Kyo Academy. Now tell me, boy, why would I do that? Madara questioned the blonde. We can offer answers. After all, we did notice you stay completely still when we were watching you, so there is no point in acting oblivious, the blonde responded. Very well then, lead the way, boy. Before Madara left the room, he left a shadow clone to attend to Asia when she is done. Madara was being led through the main campus to an old Victorian designed building that gave off an ominous aura. Madara and the blonde reached the door, and when they entered they were greeted by a beautiful redhead. Ah, please come in, I've been waiting to meet you. Speech, do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts, is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do, fire style fireball, just do. Ah, please come in, have a seat, I've been waiting to meet you, Mr. Uchiha. Madara Uchiha. Ah yes, Mr. Uchiha, my name is Rias Gremory, welcome to the Occult Research Club. Madara was greeted by a beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure. She had beautiful red crimson hair and blue eyes. Madara first examined the room. On his left he saw a petite girl with white hair and hazel eyes. She was busy munching down a plate filled with various junk food. Why does it seem that this child has some sort of Senjutsu energy? That's because she does, Madara. It would seem that there are two existing energies within her. One half being Senjutsu and the other half being similar to the one named Rias Gremory, although it's not as potent. Hagoromo interjected. On his left, Madara noticed another beautiful young woman with a voluptuous figure. She had very long black hair and violet eyes. Her hair was tied in an extremely long ponytail. And this one, she does seem to have the same energy as the redhead. However, there is another energy, one that seems lighter and harmonious. This should be interesting, Madara thought to himself. Madara then proceeded to take a seat opposite the desk of Rias Gremory. Madara positioned himself in such a manner that he seemed like a king, and everyone else in the room were there to pay him a visit. Both Rias and the black-haired girl were impressed by this act of dominance. Right. As I said before, my name is Rias Gremory and this is my peerage. The young man that escorted you here is Kiba Yudo. The girl on your left is Kaneko Taoju, and the young woman beside me is Akino Haimjima. And we only have one question to ask you, Mr. Uchiha. Which is? Madara asked. What are you? Madara was taken so aback by the question that he raised a single eyebrow. Whatever do you mean by that? What species are you? Rias further elaborated on her previous question. I'm human, what of it? Not possible. No human can be emitting such powerful life force and energy, unless you have some sort of sacred gear. Sacred what? I have no idea what you speaking of, child. Also, with all this talk of species, what exactly are you then? We're devils, Rias said with a proud smile on her face as she and her peerage revealed their bat-like wings to Madara. Madara just remained silent, observing and analyzing the situation. So this is a devil, huh? The books I read earlier made it seem that these creatures looked like the most hideous things in existence. I suppose I shouldn't trust everything I read, Madara thought to himself. So you are the species that the Christians refer to as the most evil and vile in existence? Madara questioned, trying to pry more information from Rias. We are no longer like that. We devils are actually not that bad when you get to know us. We have completely changed our way of living, mindset and system. Who is that so? Care to elaborate on that statement of yours? Rias then went on to explain to Madara about the great war that happened between angels, fallen and devils, about the 3 remaining pure-blooded devil households, about the devil peerage system and way of resurrection. Madara just remained silent, digesting and processing the new information he just heard. Your kind disgust me, Madara rebuked with a very serious facial expression. You take people and use them as your slaves, how pitiful. Play Naruto Shippuden Ost, Hurricane Sweet 2. Rias was shocked and also angered by his comments. They are not slaves. The people you see around you are my family and best friends. Alright, if they are not slaves, can they leave you anytime? No, they are bound to me forever, Rias replied. I rest my case. This system of your forces people against their will to be revived and to slave away their lives all for your own pleasure, with no chance at freedom. Disgusting. Kiba's blood started to boil and he drew out his sword, making sure it was pressed tightly against Madara's neck. Careful where you point that thing, boy. You wouldn't want your master to clean up your blood on the floor now, would you? Madara warned. The room's temperature started to grow cold and the aura become more hostile. Madara's eyes were moving around, noticing the body language of the people around him. They were all getting ready to attack. Kaneko was stretching her neck and cracking her knuckles, trying to get her blood going. Akino started flexing her fingers, allowing her yellow lightning to spark around her fingers. Kiba stared to press his sword even tighter on Madara's neck, almost to the point where blood will come out. Rhea started releasing her red power of destruction aura and her hair started to float, seeming looking like it had a life of its own. Intense stare down. We have you outnumbered, Mr. Uchiha, so I suggest you apologize, Rhea said in a cocky tone and a smirk on her face. Guess again, devil. As Madara released the Genjutsu, the devils were on the ground, tied up together. They were all shocked to see this happen to them. The room was turned upside down as 10 Madara's clones were searching every corner of the room for anything of value. The main Madara was at Rhea's library reading every book in about 30 seconds and then throwing them to the side. As Madara finished reading all the books, he made his way to Rhea's with his sharing and active staring down the devil. Princess, let me warn you now, princess. Daring to challenge me was foolish of you. With my eyes I can show you true hell. Madara released some of his power and his sharingan started glowing bright red, the pressure from his power being too much that it knocked out the devils. Pathetic, I wasn't even trying. Madara then dispelled his clones and left the room. End song. 15 minutes later. Excuse me, but can you be my boyfriend please? These were words coming from a beautiful young girl with purple eyes and silky black hair that reached down to her mid-back. She was dressed in a school uniform which consisted of a white shirt, green skirt and dark red blazer that had the letter P on the chest. No fucking way. What did you just tell me? Are you sure you have the right person? These were the words said by a young man. He had brown spiky hair and brown eyes. He was dressed in the male uniform of Kyo Academy. You're Issei Hayao, right? That sexy hunk I have had my eyes on. Issei's face went completely red from her comment. Yeah, I'm Issei Hayao, Issei said, trying his best to construct a proper sentence. Then can you please be my boyfriend? Pretty please, the girl said as she made her way to Issei and started holding Issei's right hand with both of hers. What's your name first? It's Yuma Amado. Alright Yuma, to answer your first question. Hell yeah, I will fucking be your boyfriend. Oh, thank you so much. Trust me, you won't regret it. Hey, how about me and you go on a date on Saturday? Why? Yuma concluded in a cute tone. What the fucking is going on? What the fucking is going on? What the fuck is going on right now? Issei's brain was in hyperdrive trying to understand the insanity that is happening. Yeah, sure, seri, good, me, look, nice, you, pretty, girl, have, fun, together, the, city, nice. Great, it's a date, I will see you on Saturday. Yuma then proceeded to kiss him on the cheek and then began to run in the opposite direction with her head down. But after a few seconds she bumped into someone. Oh, excuse me, I didn't see you, th. Yuma was violently pushed to the ground by the person she just bumped into. Move, said a man with long spiky hair. Hey asshole, that's my girl you just pushed to the ground. Issei got furious and charged at the man. The spiky-haired man just slapped Issei across the face, effectively putting him on the ground. Hey asshole, that my boyfriend you just... Yuma didn't dare finish her sentence as the man gave her a wave of fear as his red eyes were piercing her very soul. Wait a minute, you are not human. You seem to possess the same energy as that Akino girl I met earlier. Although yours is more potent, the man said out loud. Fuck, my cover is blown, Yuma cursed. Play Naruto Shippuden Ost, Spiral. The environment started to change. There were no people around and the sky turned purple. Yuma then got off the ground and started to transform. She now looked like an older version of herself but with a more voluptuous body, crow-like black wings and a too revealing to describe dominatrix outfit. Black crow-like wings, this must be a fallen angel, the ones described by Gremory's books. You just blew my cover, human, and for that, I need to kill you and that loser that's on the ground, the now fallen angel stated with a cocky tone. Yuma, is that you? Damn girl, what happened to you? We still going on that date, right? Issei said, trying to get up to his feet. You're pathetic, boy. Can't you see that this fallen was only posing so that she could eliminate you? Issei's eyes went wide and he looked straight into Yuma's eyes. It's a lie, right? Tell me he is joking, right? Right, Yuma? Why? I'm so sorry, but for starters it's Rainier, and also his right. My mission was to eliminate before you awaken. Therefore you've got to go. But first, I will start with you, Red Eyes and Song. It's Uchiha. Madara Uchiha play Naruto Shippuden Ost, Kokuten. Rainer created a yellow glowing spear in her hand and threw it at Madara. Madara didn't move. He just folded his arms and closed his eyes, letting the spear inch ever so close to him. When the spear was a centimeter close to his nose, Madara just simply opened his eyes, unleashing a force of power so strong it shattered the light spear and unbalanced Rainer. Unbelievable. He just done that by the sheer force of his power. What kind of human is he? Rainer muttered to herself. Is that the best you got, bird? Madara asked with an unamused facial expression. What did you call me, human? Die. Rainer then went to a frenzy, throwing a barrage of light spears at Madara. 5, 10, 17, 29, 45. Impressive for a bird. Madara was busy counting the amount of light spears heading in his direction. Madara then unfolded his arms and performed some hand signs. Wood-style wood barrier. Just 2 beams of wood then emerged from the ground and joined together to form a shield protecting Madara. Wood-style wooden dragon. Just 2 a wooden dragon emerged from the ground behind Rainer and started charging at her. Rainer took flight, trying her best to avoid the wooden dragon. Damn it, that dragon is quick. I can't believe a human has forced me to resort to using this gear. Rainer then proceeded to dig into her cleavage and pulled out a ring and placed it on one of her fingers. Divine Guardians, Rainer shouted at the top of her lungs, summoning an army of undead wearing holy angel armor. What is this? Some sort on reanimation. Just do. The undead attacked the dragon with their weapons, taking it down, but not after the dragon crushed 10 of the undead soliders. I can't believe a human made me use one of my artificial sacred items, but this should end him. I'm really getting sloppy, Rainer told herself. Undead army, huh? Any gen just 2 attacks would be useless, and physical attacks won't do anything to them because they feel no pain, Madara thought to himself as he saw the undead that were cursed by his wooden dragon rise to their feet. I will need to use techniques that will break down their bodies, something to incinerate them. I suppose it won't be that easy because of those armors, however this battle shouldn't be that difficult. Madara then raised his right middle and index finger to his chest. Ninja art hidden mist. Just 2. The surrounding area then became very misty and the visibility was non-existent. What's going on? Screw it, I will risk it, Issei said as he tried running away from the battle but bumped into a brick wall and dropped to the floor holding his head. What the? He created mist out of nothing. Does he have a sacred gear? This ain't no ordinary human. Time to finish this, Madara thought to himself. Scorch style incinerating flare. Madara created a giant orb of fire that hovered above everyone in the area and exploded, created a large heat wave that burnt the bodies of the undead, turning them into ashes and clearing the mist. End song. Rainer just stood there shocked that this human was able to eliminate her army with no difficulty. Wait a minute. What was the point of you creating that mist when you just could have burnt the undead? Madara just looked at her and smiled. The mist wasn't for them. What do you mean? Rainer wasn't able to finish her sentence as she dropped to her knees, hugging herself tightly as if her torso was in severe pain. You see, bird, Scorch style allows me to heat up my target's body, allowing me to heat up the liquids in their bodies, burning them from the inside out. The mist was for you to inhale the liquid in the air, increasing the effects of my Scorch style. What's going on? Issei asked as he slowly rose to his feet holding his head. Rainer noticed this and created one last light spear and threw it directly at Issei's body. Get down, boy, Madara shouted, but Issei was too slow to react, allowing the spear to pierce his stomach. Both Rainer and Issei dropped and both of them were laying on the floor, both trying their best to stay alive. Madara was at the middle of them both, just observing both of them trying to fight off death. I need to get more information from this fallen. I shall interrogate her when I arrive home. As Madara made his way towards Rainer, he could hear Issei say something, please ... help ... me. Madara stopped dead at his tracks, observing Issei battle the Grim Reaper for his right to stay alive. Madara was at a crossroads. On one side he had a fallen angel with potentially important information that could assist him. However, on the other side he had an innocent bystander that needs immediate medical attention. He needed to make a decision, fast. Damn it, I can only deal with one problem at a time for the moment, Madara thought to himself. He stood there still debating what to do. Damn it. You have made me soft, Hashirama. He then decided to put a flying Rajan seal on Rainer and allow her to retreat. Hopefully she would lead him back to her master. Just when Madara went to get Issei's body, Rainer disappeared and the environment returned to normal. Good, that fallen should have retreated. I will deal with her later. Madara then picked up Issei's body and started to leap from building to building trying to get home. 30 minutes later, Madara arrived at his apartment and started knocking on the door. I'm coming, a voice could be heard from within the apartment. Asuka then opened the door and what she saw shocked her. In front of her was Madara carrying a boy that was bleeding badly. Both Madara and the teen were stained with the teen's blood. Move was all Madara said as he shoved her out of the way. Asia, I require your assistance, child. Wait a minute. Big brother, didn't you and I just walk home Toj? Asia didn't finish that sentence as she observed the bloody scene in front of her. Madara placed Issei on the table and took of Issei's top. Child, I do not have the time to explain the situation. We need your healing. Asia rushed to her brother's side and began healing Issei with her twilight healing. Madara placed his hand on Asia's shoulder, giving her some Senjutsu chakra, boosting her healing 3 times her normal rate. Asuka just stood there bemused that the people she lives with are using superpowers to heal a barely surviving boy. Issei's mindscape. Issei is found floating in a red abyss. His body is completely shut down, however he is trying his best to gain conscious. Awaken partner, it is time to be the emperor. Awaken my partner, it is time to be the red dragon. Issei's eyes shot wide open as he saw a wall of flames in front of him. The flames finally died down, revealing a giant western-looking red dragon. God help me, Issei said in fear, witnessing the great creature in front of him. Stay calm, Issei Hyaudu. I am known as the Red Dragon Emperor of Domination, D-Drag the Welsh Dragon, and you Issei Hyaudu are my current host and new partner, making you this generation's Red Dragon Emperor. I'm so confused, what did you just tell me? Issei stated, still trying to get to grips with the fact he is talking with an actual dragon. Interesting, a voice echoed behind D-Drag and Issei. You were the one who battled that fallen and saved my host. The name is Uchiha. Madara calmly said as he floated towards Issei and D-Drag eventually standing beside Issei. But how are you able to enter into my partner's mindscape? This should be mine and his private space. My eyes see everything, Madara said as he looked at D-Drag with brightly glowing Sharingans. It would seem so, however I would like to express my gratitude. You saved me from decades of drifting to find a new host and partner. You are the guy who fought that crazy bitch Yuma. I remember she stabbed me right in th. Issei stopped, checking his body for the damage Rainer's spear inflicted, but he found nothing. Boy, we are currently in your mind. Your actual body is in my apartment, resting after receiving healing from me and my follower. Oh shit, thanks man. If it wasn't for you I would be dead right now. I owe you my life. Let us get back on track. You say you are the Red Dragon Emperor of Domination, so that would make you one of the 2 heavenly dragons, isn't that right, dragon? Madara asked. Impressive, you know a lot. But yes, that is correct, I am one of the 2 heavenly dragons. My power is greater than the great devil god Lucifer, and the creator of heaven, God the Father. Interesting, which means this boy has the power to dominate the world. Issei's eyes shot wide open hearing the statement that he has the power to potentially control the world. Not necessarily. Even though I am proud of my power, there are those far stronger than me, and the other heavenly dragon, my rival Albion, can keep my power at bay. Stronger than you? You don't say, and who would these beings be? From my memory I can recall Great Red, Hades, Ophis and Trihexa, however I have no doubt that there are others who have surpassed me. Interesting, I require more information, Madara said to himself. Alright partner, it would seem our chat is coming to an end. I will give you this tip. Awaken your sacred gear before the White One awakens. It is your only hope. But how? I don't even know how to talk to girls. How do you expect me to awaken a gear that has world-ending power? You must try. Remember the most important things ... why ... D-Drag started to fade away and Madara and Issei were being pulled out of the mindscape and back to reality. In the real world, Madara and Issei are found in the room with Issei sleeping peaceful, trying to recover from his injury, and Madara sitting on a chair that was beside Issei with his Sharingan active, looking at Issei's forehead. Madara then deactivated his eyes and walked out the room without making a noise. As Madara made his way to the living room, he found Asuka and Asia standing there waiting for him with their arms folded and feet tapping the ground. They looked at him expecting an explanation. Madara just walked past them and made his way to his chair to rest his muscles. Big brother, are you just gonna ignore us and not give us an explanation? Madara just stared at her, then gave her a big sign. I speak once and answer no question, do we understand? But, Asuka interjected, I said once and never again, do we understand? Asia and Asuka reluctantly nodded their heads. Good. I am a shinobi. I come from a faraway land and arrived here seeking for a better life and a chance to foster peace. This has always been my goal since I was a young child. However, in my land I failed and caused more harm than good. My clan, the Uchiha, was massacred and I am the sole survivor existing in this land. However, I intend on bringing peace this time. And this time I will use a different path. This is my dream now and forever. Madara finished his speech with a determined look, then went up to his bedroom to go and rest, leaving Asia and Asuka tearing up due to the fact he is the only member of his clan and that he failed his dream. That man sure is something, huh? Mickey said as she was leaning against the wall opposite the living room. Madara's Mindscape play Naruto Shippuden Ost, Seika. Madara is found walking towards a terraced mountain deep within a vast forest. He keeps exploring the forest until he finds the entrance to the mountain. As he kept walking, he began to wonder, why do the walls of this cave seem so familiar? He kept walking until he entered an extremely large room filled with markings of the Uchiha clan crest and fire markings. Wait a minute, I am in the Uchiha hideout, Madara thought to himself. How much can you see with those Sharingan of yours? A voice called out to Madara. He completely turned around, and when he saw who was sitting on the Uchiha throne, it completely shocked him. Welcome home, my child. It is I, your ancestor Indra Otsutsuki. I hear from father you wish to obtain peace. That's right, Madara replied. You have failed before my reincarnation. That was in the past. Even you lost to your younger brother once upon a time. Indra chuckled at his comment. Touche, my reincarnation. However, I must ask, what will be different this time from your previous attempt? The combination of love and power, Madara calmly said. Combining me and my brother, huh? Very well, then you will meet Asura in due time, just like how you meeting me. But for now, however, let's see if you truly worthy of my blessing. End song. Play Tokyo Ghoul licked unshatten. Indra dashed to the side of Madara with incredible speed, and they both stood there letting the dust settle. Indra made the first move, trying to punch Madara in the jaw. However, Madara blocked Indra's arm with his arm, causing a power struggle. Indra used his free arm to grab the sword attached to his back to attack the left side of Madara's torso. Madara was about to grab the sword with his left hand. However, Indra saw this and coated the blade edges of his sword with Amaterasu. Madara then used Kamui and allowed the blade to phase through him. Indra then jumped back and performed a cluster of hand signs. Madara saw exactly what he was doing and performed the same hand signs. Fire style fireball just do. The two giant balls of fire clash, creating a huge power struggle. Indra took the charge by adding Amaterasu to his fireball. But before Madara did the same, he thought of an idea. I wonder what would happen to my Justus if I added Senjutsu Chakra. Madara then closed his eyes, gathering natural energy. While doing this, Indra believed Madara has given up and just increased the intensity of his fireball, pushing Madara's fireball back. Just when Madara was about to be burned by Indra's attack, he opened his eyes and had activated Sage Mode. Madara then increased the intensity of his fireball, but something was different. Instead of his typical red-orange flame being released, coming out of his mouth instead was bright blue flames that impressively fought back Indra's Amaterasu fireball. Interesting, Senjutsu has taken my fire style techniques to another level of heat. I wonder what other techniques can be changed. Madara then created a wood clone and instructed it to perform another Jutsu, knowing very well Amaterasu will eventually get the upper hand. Fire style dragon flame Jutsu. The clone blew out a large blue flaming dragon head that was targeted to attack Indra by his side. Indra quickly covered himself with his Susanoo ribcage, but the intensity of the dragon caused a decent-sized explosion that caused part of the walls and roof to collapse. Indra jumped out of the room and to the roof. Madara quickly followed suit, and both were standing at opposite ends of the roof, staring each other down. Play Naruto Shippuden Ost Zetsu's theme. Let's stop playing around, shall we? And let's get serious, Madara said with a smirk on his face. Very well then, my reincarnation. Both of them closed their eyes and gathered their chakra. They opened their eyes and activated their Manjikayo Sharingan. Susanoo. They both screamed and dusted formed all around them. The dust settled, revealing two perfect formed Susanoos, one being purple and the other being blue. Both Madara and Indra were smiling at each other, the thrill of battle boiling both of their bloods. They just remained still, embracing the calm before the storm, as they both have been itching to have a full-on battle. Let us begin, shall we? Madara broke the silence. Let's. Indra responded to him. Play Naruto Shippuden Ost Hard Battle. Madara and Indra dashed to each other, swinging their Susanoo blades to attack. The blades connected, causing an unimaginable shockwave, cutting the top of mountains and destroying the surrounding trees. They went back and forth, swinging their swords and dodging each other's attacks. However, due to Madara using Sage Mode, his attacks were dealing more powerful blows and his Susanoo was moving more efficiently. They collided once more, causing a power struggle. However, Indra was being overwhelmed. He needed to do something and fast. HMPH, I guess I have no choice. I need to finish this, Indra thought to himself. Indra closed his eyes, calming his nerves, allowing himself to relax before going all out. Ultimate form Susanoo. Indra shouted at the top of his lungs, and wave of pressure pushed Madara back. Madara quickly regained his balance, but what he saw in front of him shocked him to no end. Indra was floating in the air inside a new type of Susanoo Madara has never seen before. Indra rushed to Madara and punched his Susanoo in face, causing Madara to fly in the direction of the punch. Indra didn't waste time and formed a staff of chakra and rushed to Madara, beating his Susanoo down. Madara's Susanoo was developing cracks and it was on the verge of breaking, but Indra stopped and flew back, wanting to take out Madara with a bang. Madara forced his Susanoo to stand up, but he was breathing heavily, those attacks really doing a number of his stamina. Indra then slowly started to breathe in and out, gathering a monstrous amount of chakra. Madara saw this and was starting to get nervous. He decided to gather as much natural energy as he can to brace for Indra's attack. Indra's Susanoo raised its staff, and the staff formed into an arrow. Indra formed a bow to holster the arrow and directed it to Madara. The arrow began to grow into something destructive and lightning began to form around Indra, dancing chaotically. Madara saw this and knew he had no counter. He simply engaged his defenses and waited for the attack. This is my strongest Justu. Prepare yourself, my reincarnation, for this is the Indras arrow. The enormous arrow charged at Madara at speeds greater than sound. Once it connected to Madara's Susanoo, it caused an environment-destroying explosion. End song. Once the dust settled, we find Madara laying on the ground with his clothes torn and his body covered in cuts and bruises. He was alive, but only barely. Indra saw this and instructed his Susanoo to hover above Madara's body. It would seem that I have won, Madara. However, you did put up a good fight, my reincarnation. Madara just chuckled at Indra's statement. What's so funny, Madara? Indra asked with a confused look. Madara simply opened his eyes, revealing the Rinnegan, and looked at Indra. Look above you. Indra followed Madara's instruction and noticed a giant meteor coming in his direction. Indra's eyes went wide and realized he needed to do something. He used all his remaining chakra to fly up to the meteor to stop it. He made contact and raised the arms of the Susanoo, using all his might to eventually stop the meteor. Indra was completely running low on chakra, however he stopped the meteor and smiled at Madara. Nice try, but you still lose. Madara chuckled again. He pushed every muscle in his body to stand up, and when he eventually did, he looked straight at Indra with a smirk. Well done. But what are you gonna do about the second one? Indra was shocked by Madara's statement as he looked above him and could sense another meteor coming in his direction. Madara quickly teleported away, using Flying Rajan as his wood clone from earlier, marked a mountain with a seal of Flying Rajan. The meteor made contact and Indra was completely crushed by the two meteors above him. The attack sent him straight down to the surface. The forest looked like it was a victim of a nuclear explosion, as every life that was present before the battle had completely died. Madara teleported back to Indra to see if he was still breathing. Indra made a hole out of the side of the meteor, being able to break free, but he was in no condition to continue fighting. He fell to the ground, accepting Madara has gotten the last laugh. The world around Madara began to fade away and Indra seemed to have vanished. Everything went black and Madara could hear an ear-raping sound that caused him to hold his head in pain. In the real world, Madara's eyes shot wide open as the source of the sound was his alarm waking him up. Madara then turned it off and was about to get out of bed, but felt something weighing him down. He looked at the covers of his bed and noticed unusual lumps. He removed the covers and noticed his three girls all sleeping peacefully around him, each grabbing hold of a body part. Enough of this, Madara said with an annoyed tone as he forced Asuka, Asia and Nikki to wake up. What is the meaning of this? Madara asked them with a bored expression. Asia yawned and was the first to answer his question. Well, big brother, after hearing your backstory, we all couldn't help but feel sorry for you and wanted to comfort you. You must be lonely being the only Uchiha alive. Asia answered him with puppy dog eyes. Madara paused for a minute, digesting what he just heard. He then chuckled and flicked Asia on the forehead with his two fingers. I appreciate it, child. Madara then broke free from their grip and went to go take a shower to start his day. 1 hour later, Madara finds Issei sitting on a couch on the living room. He seems to be in deep concentration. So you have awakened, boy? Madara said, breaking Issei's train of thought. Oh yeah, I guess I have. Quick question, Mr. Uchiha. What is it, boy? Were you in my dream last night, talking to a massive dragon? That was no mere dream, boy. We did have a conversation with the red dragon D-Drake. I thought as much. I can't believe I have world-ending power. It's a lot to take in. Madara just observed Issei, seeing that he really had no idea what to do with his impressive power. So what's your plan, boy? What do you intend on doing? To be honest with you, I have no idea. I could try being a superhero like the comic books I have, but I know the government will just hunt me down and want to dissect my body to understand why I got this power. How about joining me, boy, and trying to obtain world peace? World peace, huh? After hearing D-Drake's story, world peace does sound nice. Problem is, I don't know if it is possible. Oh, it's possible. It all depends on how you approach it, Madara interjected. Issei looked down on his feet. I don't really believe in this whole world peace thing, but I believe that you believe in it, and after seeing you fight Yuma, you are probably the only person I can trust, so sure, I will join you. Very well then, you are now one of my people. Just one more thing. What is it, boy? I need someone to train me, and I was wondering if I could be your student. Madara thought about it for a minute. I could use another Tobai to go and infiltrate enemy headquarters and obtain information, and with the potential of his power he would be a worthy successor of Albedo. Very well then, do you intend on following me to the darkest corners of existence? I give you my life, sensei, as you have saved it before, Issei replied to him while bowing down. The girls then came downstairs to the living room in order to have breakfast. They saw Issei and each started to introduce themselves to him and he to them. The gates of Kuo Academy. Madara walked Issei and Asia to school, but just when he was about to leave he was stopped by a short girl. With a slim figure, black hair, styled in a short bob cut. She had violet eyes and was wearing glasses. Mr. Madara Uchiha, my name is Sona Citri and I would like to borrow you for a moment. Who, another devil, huh? I wonder what she wants, Madara thought to himself. And if I refuse, then you refuse. I will not force you to do something you don't wish to do. All I ask is that you give me a moment of your time for a simple chat. Interesting. Very well then, lead the way, Citri. Madara then walked beside Sona as they walked through the large crowd of students gossiping about them. They eventually reached the student council room. Madara entered the room after Sona but noticed the room was full of devils and decided to be on guard. Don't worry about them, Mr. Uchiha, they are my peerage and will not attack unless I give them the order. Sona and Madara then took a seat on the sofas in the middle of the room. They were sitting opposite each other with a table in between them. Could I interest you in a game of chess, Mr. Uchiha? Sona asked, hoping to test the brain power of the men in front of here. I don't see why I haven't played it before, but I suppose I could try it. Sona was disappointed by his answer, but regardless ordered one of her subordinates to get the chess board and pieces. Sona set the chess board and placed the chess pieces at their appropriate positions. While she was doing this, Madara was having a mental conversation with himself. If I remember reading correctly, this is a game of strategy, and each piece has a distinctive role and ability. From analyzing this, I can see that it is similar to shogi. Are you ready, Mr. Uchiha? Sure, as they say, ladies first. Sona chuckled at his statement and made her move. After a few moves in the game, Sona started a conversation. So I take it you already heard about the supernatural world from Rias. Yes, I have, and about you devils and your system. Madara simply responded, playing his move. I see. I take it that we are not your favorite species then. Sona responded, making her move. I do not agree with your methods, however I really don't care about you devils. I see, and I want you to know, Mr. Uchiha, that we are not your enemies. You are also not my allies. Madara interjected, playing his move. A few moments go by and it would seem Sona is dominating Madara at the chess game. So I hear you human and have some special type of eyes from Rias. That is correct, however it's not a sacred gear you supernaturals keep referring to. I see. I would like to ask then, what are your intentions here, Mr. Uchiha? Sona questioned, playing her move. That is none of your concern. Why would I tell my plans to someone who is not an ally? Fair enough, however I wish to repeat, we are not your enemies and I can see you not ours, due to the fact you only tied up Rias and did not attack her. Listen, I really don't care about that princess or you. I will simply be out of your way if you are out of mine. I can understand that, just please don't cause trouble. Sona concluded. As the game went on, it would seem that Sona is going to get another victory. Well, Mr. Uchiha, this is check M. Sona didn't finish that statement as she didn't notice that Madara has backed her to a corner. The art of war, Citri. One of the most simple tactics. Seem weak in front of your opponent in order for them to drop their guard and concentration, Madara said with a smirk. Madara then performed a cluster of moves that eventually took down her king. I believe this is checkmate. Sona was completely shocked that she has lost for the very first time. You deliberately made bad moves in the game so I could lower my guard and you would be able to take my king, and you did this only on your first try. That is correct, Madara said with a stoic expression. Just who are you? Sona said as she looked at him with shocked eyes. I am Madara Uchiha. Madara calmly said. Sona just examined his face, seeing that he was actually telling the truth. Take a picture, Citri, it will last longer. Sona blushed from his comment and then looked back down to the chessboard. He is the only man to beat me in a chess game. I even rejected my former fiancé for not being able to defeat me. Sona looked one more time at Madara and could feel her heart skip a beat. Perhaps he is worthy of me. A magic circle appeared around Sona's ear as if it was a communication device. Sona, please come to the Occult Research Club. I need your help. Riaz's voice could be heard from the magic circle. The circle disappeared and Sona regained her composure. Mr. Uchiha would you please accompany me? Sona nervously asked, hoping to spend just a little bit more time with the man who is causing her heart rate to speed up. Why not? I would like to see if Gremory has learned her lesson. Madara and Sona walked out of the school main building and towards the occult research club. And while they were walking, Sona tried her best to match Madara's pace so she could be exactly beside him. As they entered the occult research club, it was filled with devils. On one end, Madara noticed Riaz's peerage, and on the other side he noticed a harem of girls. In the middle was Riaz, sitting next to a tall young man who seemed to be in his 20s. He has short blonde hair and dark blue eyes. His outfit consists of a burgundy blazer with gold embroidery on the right with matching pants and black formal shoes, and standing in front of Riaz's desk was a beautiful young woman appearing to be in her 20s with back-length sliver hair and silver eyes. Her outfit consisted of a maid uniform. Everyone who was in the room shifted their attention to Madara and Sona. When Riaz and her peerage saw Madara, they all flinched a bit and her peerage went on guard. Sona saw this and immediately stood in front of Madara and extended her hands in a protective manner. Calm thyself, Mr. Uchiha is my guest for the day, Sona explained with a slight blush on her face. Hello again, Gremory. I can see that our last encounter has made an impact on you, Madara said with a smirk on his face. Riaz flinched again by his statement but quickly regained her composure. What is a human swan doing in your domain, Riaz? The blonde man said with a disgusted tone. Madara then moved towards the sofa that was opposite Riaz and the blonde and sat down. Sona followed him and sat down next to him. And who gave permission to the swine to sit down? The blonde asked. Tell me, devil, what is your name? Madara asked with a stoic expression. You don't even deserve that pleasure, but I understand you swines always admire the divine and supernatural. You always try to copy us. It is pitiful really, but I understand ants have no other option but to admire what's above them. The name is Phoenix. Riser Phoenix, be grateful, swine. Madara then looked at Riaz. Is this what you meant by you devils aren't that bad? Riaz tried to raise her hand but realized she had no argument after what he had just said. So Phoenix, what kind of man only uses women to fight his battles, huh? Madara said with a smirk on his face. And what is that supposed to mean, swine? Riser said with a slightly annoyed tone. Oh, I don't know. Maybe the fact that you as a coward hide behind a wall of women. What kind of warrior is that? Everyone that wasn't in Riser's peerage broke out a small smile after Madara's remark. What did you say to me, swine? Riser said in outrage. He then stood at his feet ready to attack. Madara just leaned back in his seat and outstretched his arms, emphasizing his dominance. All the girls that wasn't in Riser's peerage couldn't help but blush at his dominance and confidence. Bring it, boy, if you think you able to dance with the Uchiha, Madara said with a calm expression. That's quite enough, Sir Phoenix. Sir Zetch placed me in this meeting in order to maintain the peace, the maid stated while raising her power. Interesting, she almost has as much power as Tobirama Senju, Madara thought to himself. Of course, Graphia Lucifuge, I wouldn't want the strongest queen in the underworld to show her angry side, Riser said calmly, diffusing the situation. And you are? Graphia asked, now looking at Madara. I am Madara Uchiha. Very well then, Mr. Uchiha, I welcome you to this meeting of the arranged marriage of Riser Phoenix and Riaz Gremory as a guest of Sona Citri, Graphia said in a professional tone. I am not marrying this bastard, Riaz interjected with an angry tone. Oh, but you have to, dear Riaz. Remember, we need to keep the pure-blooded devils strong, otherwise the underworld would be swarming with impurity. This is not fair. I never had a say in this arrangement. Sir Zetch did predict this would happen, therefore Riaz, to fight for your freedom. You will be allowed to participate in a raiding game against Riser and his peerage. Tell you what, my dear Riaz, in order to make things more interesting, I will allow you 10 days to train, Riser said with full confidence. I will even let you use this human as a shield, although I doubt he will last 2 seconds. Riser continued, giving Madara a dirty look. Madara just chuckled. How about I fight you and your army of slaves single-handedly? That seems more like a fair fight, Madara stated. Riser's blood began to boil. Okay, now you are annoying me, swine. If you want to die that badly, so be it. I challenge this fool to a raiding game. Wait a minute, this is my life that's on the line. Riaz tried to resort the issue. Do you accept the challenge, Mr. Uchiha? Graphia asked, now looking at Madara. Let's dance, devil, Madara said. Very well then, Mr. Uchiha and Sir Phoenix will do battle in a raiding game. What does the victor want as a reward? Graphia asked. If I win, I take Riaz's hand in marriage, and I want this fool's head on a platter. If I lose, I shall cancel my engagement and give the right to Riaz's hand to this swine, Riser said. And you, Mr. Uchiha? I don't really care for the princess. If I win, I want full access to this devil's territory, Madara calmly said. Very well then, the rating game will commence in 10 days. No, it will be tomorrow. I don't need 10 days for this devil, Madara claimed. Very well, the rating game will commence tomorrow. I will relay the news to Sir Zetch. Have a good evening, everyone. Graphia then summoned a magic circle and disappeared. Enjoy your last day on Earth, swine, it shall be your last, Riser stated, and also disappeared with his peerage in a magic circle. Speech: do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts: is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do. Fire style fireball, just do. Mr. Uchiha, Mr. Uchiha, Mr. Uchiha. Madara Uchiha. Sona was shouting at Madara, trying to get his attention as he left the occult research club room, deciding to go home, ignoring everyone else who was in the room. What is it, Citri? Madara asked in an annoyed tone. Have you lost your mind? How could you just go and challenge a high-class devil like that? The boy had it coming. No one is allowed to undermine the Uchiha. But you will be killed. In all the rating games Riser has participated in, he has only ever lost 2. And those 2 were forfeits. These was done intentionally, for political reasons. Please, Mr. Uchiha, I beg of you, reconsider your challenge. Sona concluded with a worried tone. Enough of this, Madara said with an angry tone. He then walked up to Sona and looked at her dead in the eyes with his sharing and activated. Listen here, girl, you should know your place. You have no idea what I am capable of. That fool has no idea the hell he will experience. I will give him a taste of my power. Divine power. Sona's heart rate was going through the roof. She felt so defenseless but also so attracted to Madara's dominance it was intoxicating her. Now, Citri, you can continue to babble about this soon-to-be-dead devil and be of no use to me. Or you can direct me to a store where I can purchase supplies to craft my armor. Sure I can assist with Sona nervously said. She then created a magic circle and teleported herself and Madara. Scene break. I'm doomed. Riaz whined while burying her head in her desk. I wouldn't jump to conclusions just yet, Riaz. We don't know how powerful Madara Uchiha really is. Akino interjected while bringing Riaz some tea. Riaz raised her head and looked directly at her best friend with a stoic expression. This is Riser we talking about. The bastard may be arrogant and full of himself, but he does have the experience and results to back it up. But think about it, Riaz. Mr. Uchiha was able to make us all believe that everything was normal, and that we had the upper hand. Then in a blink of eye we were on the ground, tied up and completely at his mercy. Riaz gave Akino a sigh and picked up her tea. I suppose you're right, Akino. It was completely unbelievable that he could just take us out like that. Not to mention those eyes of his and the pressure from his power. It just makes me wet thinking about it, Akino said while biting her bottom lip. Akino, now is not the time to be thinking of such things. Come on, Riaz, doesn't Mr. Uchiha interest you? He is such a mystery, and yet has power that completely knocked us out. He looks as if he fears nothing and is holding back majority of his power. Riaz took a moment to ponder Akino's words. She began to have a deep concentration on the man called Madara Uchiha. Akino does speak a lot of sense. He really is a mystery, and I fear that could be a bad thing. Riaz thought to herself. I just hope he can win so I can get out of marrying that bastard Riser. So you can go ahead and marry Mr. Uchiha instead, Akino said with a smirk on her face. Riaz's face couldn't hold back her blush. Would you stop that, Akino? Geez, somewhere in Romania. What is this place, Citri? Madara questioned. We are currently in Romania in the region of Siasora. This is one of the best locations to buy supplies for battle, Sona responded. Madara and Sona were currently walking in a medieval city with the local residents wearing outdated clothes and robes. The sky was gray and full of clouds, giving the city a somber vibe, and the technology that the local residents were using seemed to come from the 14th century. This is strange. Why does this side of the world seem so ancient? Madara asked. That because we are currently in the supernatural version of Romania. The real Romania is completely up to date with today's world. However, the one we are currently in seemed to stay in the past. Sona answered. Supernatural, you say? Yes, this side of the world was known for its vampires, orcs, orges, and goblins. There are currently some of these creatures running around in this version of Romania. However, I have never encountered a vampire before except for one. Some believe they went into hiding or are extinct. Interesting. Romania, you say? Wasn't this the birthplace of that character known as Dracula? Madara continued his questions. I'm impressed not a lot of people know about that. You must read a lot. But anyway, yes, that is true. Dracula was known to be from these parts. His father was known as Dracul Aka, the devil or dragon. But even in the supernatural world there also seems to be myths. What do you mean? Madara further questioned. No one who is currently alive in the supernatural world can confirm that Dracula exists. So even we of the supernatural have concluded that he is just a myth, a creation of someone's imagination. Sona concluded. Madara and Sona kept walking deeper into the city until a castle that was over a hill became visible. Madara kept looking at the castle as he felt a strange energy coming from it. What is that place, Citri? Oh, that was known to be Dracula's castle. But like I said before, we have all concluded that he was just a myth. Many supernaturals have went to the castle and found nothing. Sage, Indra, something feels odd about that castle, doesn't it? Madara began a mental conversation with the occupants of his mind. Yes, that is true, Madara. However, this energy is nothing like we have encountered before, but it does feel similar to the devils somehow. Hagoromo stated. We should go and investigate. Perhaps we can find something the supernaturals couldn't. Indra interjected. I suppose. Madara concluded, ending the mental conversation he was having. Are you all right, Mr. Uchiha? Sona asked with a bit of worry. Let us continue, was all Madara said as he continued walking ahead. 15 minutes later, Madara and Sona entered a store filled with various kinds of weapons, armors, and all different kinds of equipment for war. Top of the morning to you, lad and lass, how can I be of assistance? The shop owner greeted his two new potential customers with a bright smile. I am looking for armor, some cloaks, a few masks, and a gun buy, Madara stated as he looked directly at the shop owner. The shop owner was an average height white man, who was completely bald and had a ginger beard that could rival Odin's. He had a scar that ran across his left eye and was wearing an old war general's uniform. Gunbai, huh? You must be Japanese. Very well then, the name is Shamas. Madara. And you are, you fine young lass. I am Sona Citri, but I am not the one doing business. Alright, have a look around, Mr. Madara. I'm sure you will find what you're looking for. Madara did just that as he explored all the corners of the shop, looking to find the objects of his desire. On a wall at the far left corner, Madara found 3 plain masks that he believed could be of use to him. He picked up the masks, found about 20 black cloaks that had a hoodie design, and grabbed them. He found bits and pieces of samurai armor laying around and picked up those. He took about 20 plain sliver rings and found a plain gun buy. That's quite the equipment you are purchasing, lad, Shamas stated with a surprised tone. I may require you to do some design and modifications for me. They are not completely to the standards I want them, Madara said. Sure, I can do that. You just tell me, how do you want them? So much will it cost? Sona questioned. It's on the house. I rarely get customers. I am just glad to have some work to do. If you ever need equipment, just come to me. I will work on them for you. Very well then, I will keep in touch, Shamas. The pieces of armor and gun buy, I will deal with them myself. The rest I will leave with you, so you can get the designs and modifications I want. For now, let me try on one of these cloaks, Madara said. He then proceeded to go into the changing room and close the door behind him. Once he knew no one could see him, he created a wood clone and gave him the cloak. He also proceeded to give the clone some instruction. Listen here, I want you to deal with Citri and that Shama's character. Tell him of our desired modifications and design, and tell him of our apartment so he can deliver them. I will go and investigate that vampire castle and see what is happening around there. After Madara told the clone of his instructions, he used Kamui and teleported to the city center, and proceeded to walk up the hill. When he reached the main entrance of the castle, Hagoromo interrupted the silence by giving Madara an idea. Madara, I believe there is a way for us to be there in the physical with you and assistance in exploring the castle. Hoo, and how is that, Sage? I do remember giving you powers where you can create clones to appear any way you desire and give them their own consciousness. So if you were to create clones that look like me and Indra and transfer our consciousness to these clones, we can be able to assist you. Interesting, very well then. Madara created 2 wood clones that looked exactly like Indra and Hagoromo, then concentrated really hard, transferring their consciousness into the clones. The air here smells foul, Indra complained while holding his nose. Enough of this, let us proceed, you two, Madara said as he walked past them, opening the doors to the castle. Lead the way, was all Hagoromo said as he followed Madara in the castle, with Indra close behind him. Play Naruto Shippuden Ost Hurricane Suite. As they entered the castle, the interior of it looked absolutely amazing with not a speck of dust or dirt. The halls were lit with candles and there were paintings of bats and the Dracula family hanged all around the walls. Isn't this place supposed to be abandoned? Indra questioned. Apparently not, my son, Hagoromo replied. He really wanted to mend his father-son relationship with Indra after all that has happened between them. It is abandoned. There is not a soul present in this castle, Madara stated after sensing his surroundings with sage mode. Interesting, there is more to this castle than what meets the eye, Hagoromo stated. With him saying that, everyone instinctively activated their Sharingans and took another look at their surroundings. Impressive. It would seem that it was some kind of genjutsu or illusion. Indra stated as when they now looked at the interior of the castle it was the complete opposite, with everything looking as if it hasn't been touched in centuries. The sofas were torn open, the walls covered in dirt and the paintings were bent or half burnt. There was not a single light present and the tiles on the floor were cracked and opened. Perhaps this is why the supernaturals couldn't discover anything. That illusion required even us to use the Sharingan to see past it, Madara stated. Hagoromo took a look around and noticed a door handle sticking out of a bookshelf. Madara, Indra, come and observe this, Hagoromo said as he moved towards the bookshelf. Madara and Indra followed him and also noticed the door handle. It's no wonder no one was able to fully explore this place. That illusion can fool most, and even if you can bypass the illusion, this door handle is still very well hidden, Indra stated. Perhaps you two do have your uses, Madara said as he grabbed the door handle and twisted it. The wall behind the bookshelf started to shake and slowly started to split open, revealing some steps that was going underground. All three followed the steps until the steps led them to an extremely large throne room that was barely lit. Who dares disturbs Dracula in her slumber? A voice came from the throne. When our three protagonists looked directly at the throne, they could only see a pair of red eyes looking right back at them. Did that voice just say, her? Indra questioned. That is correct, the voice answered back. Then a snap of the fingers could be heard, and all the lights in the throne room went on. Sitting on the throne was a jaw-dropping sexy young woman, who had pale white skin and an amazing voluptuous body. She had a chest that rivaled Akino's and beautiful silky sliver hair that reached to her back. She had bright red eyes that could seduce most men, and she was wearing an elegant black ball gown dress. Wait a minute, isn't Dracula supposed to be a male? Hagoromo questioned. That is incorrect, the woman answered him. Whether Dracula is male or female is of no concern to me. The question remains, are you Dracula, the Lord of the Vampires? Madara questioned. Queen of the Vampires. But yes, I am Dracula. Those rumors or stories you have heard about me being a male is incorrect. Only 3 people knew of my gender and 2 of them are dead. I make absolutely sure that no one knows of my identity, so the world just assumed I'm male. Fascinating. So you have been in hiding all this time? Indra questioned. Yes, and now I cannot allow you to leave this place alive. Dracula snapped her fingers, and coming down from the ceiling was a horde of vampires. They landed in between Dracula and our 3 protagonists, ready to attack them. End song. 3 against 100. That seems about right, Indra stated. Wait, before we engage in battle I must explain the capabilities of this jutsu. Since we are created from your clones Madara, we have your abilities, not our own. As well as the more chakra we use, the faster the jutsu will expire. We cannot last forever, however you can expand the duration by increase your powers Madara, so me and Indra will deal with the henchmen while you take on the queen, Hagoromo stated. Very well then, I will study more about this jutsu later on. For now, however, let us dance, Madara said, getting in a battle stance. Would you fight with me on this one? My son Hagoromo asked, hoping fighting together can create a new bond between them. I suppose. He is my reincarnation, so I will still have majority of my jutsu and more. Let us begin, father, Indra stated, activating Madara's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. HMPH, that's my boy. Hagoromo did the same and dashed to the vampires with Indra close behind him. When they were right in front of the army of vampires, they split directions, with Hagoromo dashing to the far right of the room and Indra dashing to the far left of the room, each of them taking half of the army with them. There was now 2 battles going on at the far corners of the room, leaving a decent space between Madara and Dracula. It would seem it's just me and you now, and your name is Uchiha, Madara Uchiha. After hearing his name, Dracula smiled, revealing her fangs. She then proceeded to lick her lips and stood up from her throne. Well then, Madara Uchiha, you will be my new plaything, seeing that you just interrupted my slumber. Dracula dashed to Madara with obscene speed, catching Madara completely off guard. With Dracula seeing this, she punched Madara right in the face, which sent him flying. Madara quickly regained his footing, but was not quick to react, as Dracula was right in front of him again and kneed him in the stomach, sending him crashing through a wall. Madara was now outside of the castle. However, the afternoon was now gone and the night filled the sky. Madara looked up and could see Dracula standing on the tallest point of her castle, and just above her was the moon. But this time the moon looked like the color of blood. Dracula decided to tear open the side of her dress, revealing her left leg. Ah, that's better, now I can move more freely. She then looked at Madara and her red eyes were glowing ever brighter. She then took a deep breath and dashed straight towards him, leaving a shockwave behind her. Madara quickly blocked her attack but could feel the intensity of her punch. Incredible, she punches harder than the Uzumaki brat while he was using his Nine Tails power. Dracula acted fast and sent a barrage of punches towards Madara. Her punches were moving at such a speed where they forced Madara to start blocking. They were moving too quick for him to dodge. Interesting. No human has ever survived this long against me, unless they were carrying a sacred gear. Dracula stated. This just seems like a taijutsu type battle. Very well then, it is time I responded. Madara thought to himself. Inner gates, gate of view open. Madara said out loud and created a shockwave that blew Dracula away. When Dracula finally got her footing, she saw Madara emitting a green-like aura around him and could feel the heat his body is emitting. I never really used the inner gates before. That Might Guy character showed true dancing qualities with the use of the inner gates. Let's see how the sixth gate matches up to this woman. Madara thought to himself. He then dashed straight at her and punched her across the face, sending her flying. Madara picked up the tempo and moved to where she was heading and kicked her on her back, making her change directions, and was now heading for the sky. Madara kept moving quicker and quicker, landing punches and kicks on Dracula's body while she was still airborne. To the normal eye it looked like lions were attacking her as Madara just kept coming from every angle. Madara then appeared right in front of her and punched her on the forehead, sending her straight to the ground, where she created a small crater on the ground. What is this? A human being able to do this amount of damage to me? I see no use of a sacred gear ... That means it's his natural power, Dracula said while coughing up blood. She then pushed all the muscles in her body to stand up and climb out of the crater. Impressive, I haven't had a fight like this in a long time. And I can tell you not going all out. You remind me of the time I challenged Off Eyes. I nearly died that day. You are slowly gaining my respect, Madara Uchiha, but let's see if you can handle me going all out. Dracula wiped some blood off her mouth and began to power up. The moon began to hover over Dracula and a beam of red light descended upon her. Her hair began to change, changing from silver to black, with a frost-white crown appearing at the top of her head. And her dress changed color from black to blood red, with bat logos splashed all over the dress. I am Dracula, queen of the vampires, and you will fear me, Dracula stated and dashed straight to Madara. Almighty push, Madara said out loud as while Dracula was powering up, he deactivated the sixth gate and awakened his Rinnegan. The invisible force pushed Dracula down the hill. Dracula started to scream in anger and dashed one more time at him. Just when she was centimeters from his face, she felt herself being kicked on the right side of her torso and flew in the direction of kick. What was that? He didn't even move and I was attacked. She looked directly at Madara and could see he was standing completely calm with his arms folded. Just as she was collecting her thoughts, she immediately attacked again with a combo of hits that made her move around the place, then was hit with an uppercut which put her to the ground. What are you doing to me? Dracula demanded as she stood up, boiling with anger. It's called Limbo, and it's a clone of mine that resides in a different plane of existence. And by observing your reaction I can see you cannot see or sense my clone. It would seem you are at a disadvantage, Madara said with a smirk on his face. That's it, I have had enough of this. Dracula began to clap her hands together and the hill began to shake. Coming from behind her castle was an enormous swarm of bats that were heading to her direction. Time to end this, Dracula stated as the bats were flying all around her. They eventually attached themselves to her body and Dracula began to transform. The dust began to rise and completely covered Dracula. When the dust settled, hovering above Madara was a gigantic bat. It had blood-red eyes and fangs that was dripping with green saliva. It had demon-like wings that spread 20 feet wide and its body was completely covered in fur. Now you die, human, the bat said in a demonic-type voice. Madara just stood there and started smirking. He then unfolded his hands and coming out of his left palm was a purple chakra chain. Bring it, bat. The bat came charging straight towards Madara, but he remained completely calm and just raised his right hand. Universal pull, Madara said, and the bat dropped to the ground, looking as if gravity was working 10 times harder on it. Madara responded quick and created massive chakra chains and he tied them around the bat's neck and fangs. He then went on top of the bat's head and released universal pull. The bat rose back to the sky, but with Madara on top of its head, it seemed like he was riding it like a pet. The chakra chains sunk deeper into the bat's body, giving Madara complete control of its movement. Let's dance, Madara said with a smirk and forced the bat to move in the direction of the castle. What do you think you're doing? The bat screamed in fear as Madara was forcing it to go on a collision course straight to the castle. Bang! The bat crashed into the castle and was severely injured. The pillars of the castle was the only things that was supporting, as it was dangling on top of the throne room. Madara jumped of the bat and landed on the surface of the throne room completely unscathed. as he used Kamui to phase through the collision. Well, seems like you two enjoyed yourselves, Madara said with a stoic expression. HMPH, I wouldn't even call this entertainment, Indra said as he and Hagoromo were sitting on their own pile of defeated vampires. These creatures, by the energy they emit, you could say they are the distant cousins of the devils. This world truly does have a lot to offer, Hagoromo stated while stroking his goatee. I suppose so, Sage. There is much to discover within this world. I need to have encounters with the strongest to see if they will let me be or interfere with my plans. So, are you gonna finish that abomination off or should I? Indra questioned while noticing the bat make slight movements attempting to regain its freedom. Madara smirked then looked up to the bat. I suppose so, Indra. This was a boring dance recital in the end. However, in the beginning she did show promise, Madara concluded then jumped on top of the bat's head again. Time to end this, Madara said as he created a black rotating orb out of his hand and allowed it to fly up to the sky. Planetary devastation, Madara said out loud, and the orb began to pull chunks of the environment and castle towards it. Madara quickly forced the bat to fly out of the castle and away from the pull of the orb. He hovered a few feet from the orb and just observed it pull everything in sight. After a few minutes later, the orb's pull formed a large planetoid that was floating in midair. Madara then pulled on the chakra chains and forced the bat to go on another collision course, this time towards the Planetiod. Oh no, not a GAI. Bang! The bat couldn't finish its statement as it crashed directly into the Planetiod, causing it to break apart. Madara then teleported to the throne room to regroup with Indra and Hagoromo. Well, that was creative of you, Madara, Hagoromo said as he kept looking at the destruction Madara caused. I cannot wait to see the adventures this world has to offer. This mission of yours should be fun. My reincarnation. Just as our three protagonists were making small talk, a body descended from the planetoid and crashed right in front of Madara's feet. Is she died? Indra questioned as he noticed the body was Dracula lying on the ground completely battered and bruised with blood coming out of the top right of her forehead. Her dress was completely ruined and torn apart. I couldn't care if she is alive or dead. She is of no threat to me, Madara said as he began to walk away from the body and towards the exit. Just as he was about to take his second step, he felt a hand grip his right ankle. W-A-I-T. Madara stopped in his tracks and looked down to see that it was Dracula holding his ankle. What is this? Madara questioned with a disgusted tone. Let me come with you, Dracula said while coughing up some blood. No, Madara said as tried to get Dracula to let go of his ankle, but she held on with a vice grip. Please, let me come with you. You are of no use to me. I don't need such unnecessary baggage, Madara stated as he used Kamui to let his ankle phase through Dracula's hand. Hold on now, Madara. She could be a valuable ally. She does know more about this world than we do and can always assist us with your goal, Hagoromo interjected. Please, I have never been this dominated before. Apart from fighting ohpis. And for some reason, I believe you have power to surpass her, Dracula stated. Aren't you the one who said for peace to become a reality both power and love are necessary? Indra imposed. So you're using my words against me, huh? Please, I beg you. We Draculas are attracted to those stronger than us. As the last member of my family and as a female, it is in my genes to instinctively follow a man stronger than me. Come now, Madara, don't just throw away a potential asset without properly using it, Hagoromo said. You two find this amusing, don't you? Madara questioned in an annoyed tone. No, us, never, Indra said with a sarcastic tone and smirk on his face. Madara sighed. Very well then. He then awakened his Rinnegan and summoned the King of Hell. The Kill of Hell opened its mouth and Madara grabbed Dracula's right wrist and threw her directly into the mouth of the King of Hell. The King of Hell kept chewing on Dracula's body and eventually spat her out. Incredible, I'm completely healed, Dracula said in amazement as her dress was also repaired. Well then, Madara, it seems that the Justice has reached its limit. Until you summon us again, we will remain in your mindscape. Have fun, my reincarnation. And with that, Indra and Hagoromo disappeared, leaving only Madara and Dracula. So, should I ask or is it none of my business? Dracula asked while pointing to the spot where Indra and Hagoromo were. It doesn't matter, let us move. I have a battle coming up in the next couple of hours. Well, aren't you a busy boy? But before we go, let me get a few of my items. Dracula proceeded to go to her throne, swaying her hips to show off to Madara. When she reached her throne, she punched it with 20% of her power and caused the throne to be smashed into tiny pieces. Hidden beneath the throne was an old war chest that had a rusted old lock. Dracula reached down and took out the chest from its old hiding spot. She opened the chest and took a few of the items that was dear to her and then walked to Madara. I need your blood, she said as she walked to him. Madara raised an eyebrow by this, knowing very well what vampires do when they taste blood. Relax, it's not for what you think, trust me, this will benefit you. I have no reason to lie, you are stronger than me after all. Madara then extended his arm and offered his hand. Dracula revealed her fangs and bit into Madara's hand, drinking his blood. Unbelievable, his blood tastes of perfection. It's so rich with power, it's intoxicating. After a few more seconds, Dracula finally came to her senses and let go of Madara's hand. She savored the taste of his blood as she could now feel with the addition of his blood into her system. Her power was beginning to grow at an obscene level. She then took a necklace she was carrying and let some of Madara's blood drop on the pendant of the necklace. It then began to grow red and Dracula placed it on her neck. What I just did now is officially make you my master. With me drinking your blood, it makes me bound to you forever. And now that I have some of your blood, my power has increased to another level. I thank you for that. And for the pendant, with it having your power, it makes all other vampires submit to your command as well as mine. Which means you are now the official lord of the vampires. Dracula concluded with a smirk on her first. Lord of the vampires, huh? It would seem that you do have your uses after all, Dracula. Diana, call me Diana. Dracula was the name my father gave me. He hoped he would have a son but got me instead. Thankfully my mother allowed me to be a girl and gave me the name Diana. Very well then, are you ready to depart? Madara questioned. I'm gonna miss this place, but I suppose I do need to get out of the house after being indoors for 300 years. Oh well, it's been fun, castle. She then took out a small stick out of her chest that had a button on the top of it and pressed it. I just activated the self-destruct sequence, we should leave now. Come along then, Madara said as he activated his Mangekyo sharing, and Diana transformed into a small bat and placed herself on the top of Madara's hair. He used Kamui and teleported himself and Diana to his apartment. Knock knock. Asia opened the front door and noticed it was her older brother who was standing outside. Big brother, it's like 4 in the morning, what have you been doing for you to come home this late? Asia questioned while rubbing her eyes. She took one more look at her older brother and noticed there was a small bat buried in his hair. You do know that you have a bat on your head, right, big brother? The bat took off from Madara's hair and flew into the house, then transformed into her human form. How do you do? My name is Dracula, the queen of the vampires. Asia's brain was still in rest mode for her to fully understand what was going on. She just looked at Diana with a tired expression, then looked back to her older brother. It's my birthday today, big brother. I was hoping me and you would have the chance to spend the day together if you don't mind, Asia asked him while twiddling with her fingers. Now is not the time, child, perhaps next year, Madara said as he walked past Asia. Oh, I understand ... you are busy after all ... it was stupid of me ... to even ask you. I'm sorry to have even bothered you, big brother. Asia kept her head down to hide the tears and proceeded to walk to her room. Madara took one more look at her and saw an image of his younger siblings flash through his mind. He stopped dead in his tracks as he kept watching Asia walk away and felt a slight discomfort in his being as he was watching the scene in front of him unfold. Ouch, a little harsh, don't you think? Diana asked after Asia went to her room to continue her sleep. She will survive, as I said before. There is a battle I must attend to in a few hours. Hope it's worth more than seeing your little sister cry, Diana said, then proceeded to the living room to make herself more comfortable. Madara closed the door behind him, then proceeded to go to his bedroom to see if his clone successfully brought the pieces of armor and gun by. As he opened the door, he saw the objects of his desire neatly packed on his bed. Madara closed the door and cracked his knuckles, getting ready to get to work with modifying these objects. Asia's room. When Asia reached her room and closed the door behind her, she dropped to her knees and broke down in tears. She couldn't stop the floodgates and just let it all pour out. Oh big brother ... don't you realize how important you are to me? I just really want to spend some time with you. It hurts, big brother. It really hurts. You're always so busy. You never have time for me. Asia continued to cry for the next 5 minutes. She then got up and got into her bed, crying herself to sleep. 5 hours later, Madara was looking at himself in the mirror as he was able to recreate a perfect replica of his samurai armor he wore in the shinobi world, and also had an exact copy of his gunbai attached to his back. He took one more look at his appearance, then left his room heading for the lounge. When he arrived, he only found Diana relaxing on the sofa waiting for him. You have a lovely group of housemates, my lord, but that Asia girl still seemed quite upset. She refused to talk to anyone. As I said before, she will survive. Are you going with me? If you say so, my lord. And yes, I am going with you. I will follow you anywhere you go. I'm forever yours, Diana said as she got off the sofa and walked up to him. By the way, nice armor. It seems to be well made as well as from my homeland. Diana said while observing Madara's attire. Enough of this. Let us depart, Madara said as he took hold of Diana's hip and used Kamui to teleport himself and her to the Occult Research Club. When Madara opened the door, he found Rize walking up and down the room with her hands on her head. Rize's peerage trying their best to calm down their master. Sona sitting comfortably on the sofa drinking tea, and Grafia waiting patiently for the arrival of Madara. "You're late," Rize shouted at Madara in frustration as she finally noticed him. "This place, I can feel it. One of my vampires is around here," Diana stated, sensing the presences of another vampire. "Wait a minute, how can you sense Gasper?" Rize asked in a shocked tone. "Oh yeah, my apologies. My name is Dracula, the Queen of the Vampires," Diana said with a smile, revealing her fangs. Everyone in the room remained dead still. Shock had an incredible hold on their bodies. They kept looking back and forth from Madara to Diana, trying their best to digest the information they just heard. "How did you?" Sona didn't complete her sentence as her brain was in hyperdrive trying to understand the insanity she is witnessing. "Are you gonna keep on drooling over a vampire? Or are you gonna teleport me to my battle?" Madara asked in a bored tone. Grafia shook her head, trying to come back to her senses and deal with the task at hand. Yes, of course, Mr. Uchiha." She then created a magic circle that covered the whole room and teleported them to another version of Kyo Academy. Was something supposed to happen? Diana asked, being confused that she was still in the same room. "We are currently in a different version of Kyo Academy where the competitors can cause as much destruction to their heart's content," Grafia explained. Sona walked up to Madara and put her hands on her hips. "We need to talk after your battle." Sona gave him an angry look. Rizer was at a sports field sitting on a throne with his peerage of women surrounding him. He was enjoying the cool breeze while having a sip of his wine. "Ladies and gentle, it would seem our victor is Rizer Phoenix, as it would seem the challenger is not he." The commentator didn't finish his statement because there was a large crash of an object just in front of Rizer that caused a large dust cloud. When the dust settled, the object that made a crash landing was instead Madara Uchiha getting ready for battle. "So you showed up after all, swine?" Rizer asked, still sipping his wine. "Ladies and gentle, the challenger has just arrived in the nick of time. We will have a battle, my people. I repeat, we will have a battle, my people," the commentator shouted in excitement. "The battle between Madara Uchiha and Rizer Phoenix will now commence." Grafia's voice could be heard all around the arena. "Play Tokyo Ghoul Ost Licht Unschatten. Well, this is it, swine. Hope you at least had time to say goodbye to your loved ones." Madara just ignored him, dusting himself off and stretching his muscles, allowing the blood in his body to get going. Two of Rizer's knight, rooks and pawns charged towards Madara. Madara grabbed one of the knight's fists and threw her towards a pawn. Rizer's rook Isabella kept charging towards Madara. He saw this and done a series of backflips, avoiding her punches. Isle and Nell were behind Madara and were charging at him with chainsaws. Madara was aware of this and quickly turned around, grabbing the chainsaws out of the pawn's grip. He quickly threw the chainsaws to the side and grabbed both pawns' heads and smashed them together. He then backhanded in the face, sending them flying. Zulan made a dash for Madara's side and made an attempt to kick his right torso. Madara used his right hand to grab her kick and used his left hand to punch her in the face. Quickly after, he released her leg and used the same hand to give her an uppercut. While she was in mid-air, Madara performed a roundhouse kick to her torso, sending her flying. Nyan Rai tried to sucker punch Madara from behind, but he was well aware of them. "Chidori stream," Madara said out loud as a current of lightning emitted from his body and electrocuted the two pawns. "Two of Rizer's pawns have been eliminated." Grafia's voice echoed in the arena. Akino gave much more attention to Madara after seeing him perform that attack. "He is a lightning user. You truly are interesting, Mr. Uchiha," she thought to herself. Enough of this, Madara thought to himself and began to gather lots of chakra. Fire-style majestic destroyer flame. Coming out of Madara's mouth was an insane wall of flames that burnt all of Rizer's peerage except for 3 members. 2 of Rizer's knights, rooks and 6 of his pawns have been eliminated. One of Rizer's bishops was shaking in fear. She couldn't move a single muscle in her body. Madara saw this and casually walked up towards her. Every step he was taking was increasing the heart rate of the bishop. When Madara was right in front, he just looked down at her with his Sharingan. His aura was close to sending the bishop into a panic attack. Genjustu, and with that the bishop dropped to her knees and completely passed out. One Rizer's bishops has been eliminated. End song. Rizer was witnessing this and started to become nervous. He had a trail of sweat on the right side of his head. "Ibaluna, Ravel, you will assist me on this one." Madara stood there with his arms crossed, contemplating what to do next. What other attack should I perform? I suppose lightning attacks will be fine. Hold on a minute, I still have my gunbai, I suppose I should use it, shouldn't I? And with that, Madara grabbed his gunbai ready for the next round of attacks. Well, what's wrong, devil? You gonna attack or just sit there cowering in fear? Riser's blood boiled in anger. Ravel, Ubaluna, attack him. Ravel followed her older brother's command and charged up a beam of fire and directed it towards Madara. Madara used his gunbai to shield himself against the attack. He then dashed straight to Ravel and pointed the side of his gunbai to her body. Uchiha's reflection, Madara calmly said, and the gunbai hit Ravel with her own attack, sending her flying. Ubaluna sent a barrage of explosive fireballs towards Madara, but he simply just used his gunbai to absorb the attacks, leaving Ubaluna completely stunned. This is beyond pathetic, Madara thought to himself. He then pointed his right fingers towards Ubaluna. Chidori sharp spear, he muttered, and a sharp chakra spear pierced Ubaluna right in the heart, completely shocking everyone who was witnessing. Ubaluna's eyes went wide, then slowly started to close, and she fell to the ground. Riser's queen has now been eliminated. Madara looked at Riser with an unamused expression. This is what you devils got. This is child's play. Even that Haruno girl from the shinobi world showed more potential. Riser was slowly losing his cool, and his fear began to visibly show. How is this possible? Riser went into a frenzy and blasted a barrage of fire attacks at Madara. Madara simply put his gunbai on his back and began to walk slowly to Riser, dodging any attack that was getting too close. When he came face to face with Riser, he looked him in the eye and activated his Manjikaiwu Sharingan Dai. Tsukayomi. Riser found himself chained onto a cross with no chance of escaping. He then saw Madara in front of him holding a sword and began to stab him in his stomach. Ah, what is this? Riser cried out in pain. Welcome to the Tsukayomi. This is a world of illusions, my world, and you will be the subject for torture for the next week. After Madara said that 100 of him appeared all around Riser and began to stab him non-stop. Stop this, I beg you. The torture kept going on and on and on and on to the point it felt like a decade to Riser. Congratulations, devil, you were able to survive 10 seconds of the torture. You still have 6 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, and 50 seconds left to go. Riser completely lost his cool and screamed like a madman for the rest of the torture. When the Genjutsu was over, Riser completely dropped to his knees, looking as if all the life he had got sucked out of him. Everyone who was watching was confused because all they saw was Madara look at Riser for 10 seconds, then saw Riser drop to his knees. Madara simply took some steps away from Riser and started launching fire attacks to the sky. Everyone was even more confused now, seeing what Madara was doing. After a couple of minutes, clouds started to form and lightning could be heard all around the arena. Rain began to fall down and Madara raised his right hand to the sky and looked directly at Riser. This ends now. Prepare yourself, devil. Come on out, Kirin. Madara shouted at the top of his lungs as an enormous lightning dragon come out of the clouds and was looking directly at Riser. Riser looked up to the sky and was completely consumed with fear. His lips began to quiver and he began to cry. Someone please save me, he muttered under his breath. Everyone except for Diana was completely gripped with fear that a human has this amount of power. They knew that no ultimate class devil had a counter against something so massive. Akino was completely intoxicated by what she was seeing. Never in her life has she seen such a use of lightning before. She believed that Madara possibly had better use of lightning than Zeus or Thor. Unbelievable. Madara Uchiha, you making me want you more and more, she said with a blush. And now with the thunderclap go. Rabble screamed in desperation as she flew straight to her brother and embraced him in a protective hug. What is this? Move out of the way, child, unless you wish to gone your brother in death. Please, sir, I beg of you, spare my brother. I will do and give you anything, just please don't kill him. Madara didn't listen and began to bring down his hand, but before it could completely come down, someone took a hold of his arm. Madara looked to his right and noticed a man who looked like the male older version of Ria's Gremory was the one who stopped his attack. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I can't have you killing 2 of the only pure-blooded devils we have, the man said with a smile. Then 2 more people came into the arena and stood in front of Riser and Ravel, extending their arms in a protective manner. I am Lord Phoenix and this is my wife Lady Phoenix, and I humbly beg you, sir, please do not kill my children. We will do and give anything to make you happy. Anything? Madara questioned. Anything you want, sir, just please show our family mercy. Very well then, if you can give me a territory in the underworld I may reconsider. Done. Madara then looked at the man who was holding his arm, and he too agreed to the conditions by giving a nod. Madara brought down his hand, but redirected Kirin to the school, effectively destroying it, leaving only rubble behind. Such power, Lord Phoenix said in amazement. Riser Phoenix has lost the battle. The victor is Madara, Uchiha Graphia said, concluding the battle. If you were to please come with me, Mr. Uchiha, I would like to discuss something with you, the redhead said with a smile. Madara just raised an eyebrow, analyzing the character in front of him. Trust me, Mr. Uchiha, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain, the man said, giving him one more smile. Very well then. After hearing his confirmation, the redhead created a magic circle and teleported Madara and himself to a specific location. Speech: do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts: is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do. Fire style fireball, just do. Allow me to make a formal introduction. My name is Surzech Lucifer, formerly known as Surzech Gremory, and it is my absolute pleasure to finally meet you, Madara Uchiha. Madara and Surzech were currently in an office that was filled to the brim with luxury furniture, artifacts, and books that would rival most libraries. Please, Mr. Uchiha, take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. There is much to discuss. Madara took up his offer and grabbed his gun by, taking it off his back and placing it next to him when he took a seat. Surzech then followed suit and took a seat opposite Madara so he would be able to have face-to-face conversation. May I be so bold as to call you Madara instead of Mr. Uchiha? I am not one for formalities. Of course, you can also call me Surzech. Call me what you like, it doesn't matter to me, Madara said while having a look at his surroundings. Excellent. Now let me start by congratulating you on your victory. Not a single human has been known to take on a high-class devil, and to win at such a comfortable margin. You telling me what I just went up against is high class? For devils, your standards are pitiful. I will admit, Riser is not the greatest of our race. He only seeks to dominate devils and peerages that are below him. He could never take on someone equal or greater than him in strength and power. You could say he's the best of the rest. So what is this meeting for, Surzech? Madara asked in a bored tone. There is many reasons, but first I would personally like to thank you for saving my Ria's Tan from marrying Riser Phoenix. Me and her owe you a huge debt for that, Surzech said while bowing to Madara. Tell me, devil, why would you accept such a thing if you were strongly against it? Madara questioned, now resting his cheek on his fist. At the time, the war had ended and most pure-blooded devils went extinct trying to fight off the two heavenly dragons. Both Rias and Riser were so young, and the Gremory and Phoenix clans were looking to keep the pure-blooded devils strong. Riser at the time was a sweet and humble boy that looked to show great promise. However, things don't always go according to plan. Meeting. Madara question. Riser has an older brother known as Ruval Phoenix, and to put it simply, the man outclasses his younger brother Riser in all aspects. He is known to be a genius and is soon to be promoted to ultimate class devil. So that joke of a fighter acts arrogant and preys on those below him, in order to mask his insecurity of being the inferior brother, Madara assumed. Impressive. You spot on, Madara. Riser could never compete with his brother. All the fame and praises from everyone went to Ruval. That is why Riser buries himself in women, in order to constantly have a supply of love, praise, and sympathy. He wishes to dominate, and when he wins he makes sure he enjoys the moment. Pathetic, Madara said in a disgusted tone. I suppose so, but as I said in the beginning, you have done me and Rias a tremendous service, Madara. I couldn't bear my Rias Tan marrying Riser. Don't get it misunderstood, devil. I never did this for her. I couldn't care less what happens to Gremory. Regardless, Madara, I thank you and wish to offer more than just your victory spoils. Huo, now you have gotten my interest, Madara said, now getting more interested in the conversation. I wish to offer a partnership between you and I, Madara. And why would this be of any benefit to me? Madara asked while raising a single eyebrow. Listen, Madara, I don't want any conflict between you and the devils. I can see you can handle yourself in a fight. And the truly frightening thing is that I can sense you weren't even trying, and many of the other devils agree with my assumption. As I said before, how will this benefit me? In simple terms, Madara, I will assist you if you can assist me. Madara just looked at him with a bored expression, giving him the signal to continue. If you could not cause any conflict with devils that are under my leadership, and assist me in my time of need, I will assist you in all that I can. Madara thought about the offer for a minute. He did say he was the Lucifer. That means he must have information and knowledge about these so-called strong beings that reside in this universe. This may prove useful. Very well then, you have my agreement, devil. Surzech broke out a smile and extended his arm for a handshake. Madara just looked at the hand as if it was some foreign object to him. Not a fan of handshakes, I see. However, I do thank you, Madara. You officially now have an alliance with the devils. I suppose so. Now what's next? Just as Madara finished asking his question, the doors of the office flung open, revealing Lord and Lady Phoenix, who decided to interrupt their meeting. "Ah, Lord and Lady Phoenix, come in, come in. I just concluded my meeting with Madara Uchiha right now. You can now have my full attention." "Actually, we came to speak to Mr. Uchiha," Lady Phoenix interjected. "With me, huh?" Madara questioned. "Yes, we also wish to have a discussion with you, Mr. Uchiha. If you could please kindly follow us, we would greatly appreciate it." Madara let out a subtle sigh as he was getting tired of all this talk, but eventually grabbed his gunbai and walked up to them. When he was a few feet from them, Lady Phoenix created a magic circle and teleported the three of them somewhere else. After they left, the Occult Research Club crew came storming in, as if they were chasing something. "Where is he?" Riaz asked her older brother, completely out of breath. "You just missed him. He just left with Lord and Lady Phoenix a few seconds ago." "Damn it," Riaz cursed under her breath. "What's the big concern, my Riaz Tan? Has someone taken an interest in Madara?" Surzech asked with a smirk on his face. "Don't even start, Oni-sama. I just came to express my gratitude." That all, Riaz said, avoiding eye contact with Surzech. "Then you know a simple letter or gift would have done the trick, right?" Riaz was at a complete loss of words. She tried opening her mouth in order to strike back with a witty comeback, but nothing came out. "Arg, whatever, I am just grateful I don't have to marry Riser anymore." "That is true. Madara did do us a great service by winning against Riser." "Wait a minute, you two are already on a first-name basis?" Riaz asked with a slightly surprised tone. "Well, yes, me and him formed an alliance not too long ago." "And why was I not informed about this beforehand, Surzech?" Grafia questioned as she now entered the office with an ice-cold aura. "Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you about my plan. Sorry about that," Surzech said as was rubbing the back of his hand with his left hand. Grafia let out a frustrated sigh. "You are impossible. As your assistant, it is my duty to know all future plans you wish to partake in." "Wait a minute, what kind of alliance is this, Oni-sama?" "Oh, nothing big. It's I scratch your back, you scratch mine type of thing," Surzech stated with a smile. Everyone who was in the room raised an eyebrow at that vague description. Riaz decided she had enough for today and marched on to her room. "So, do you think Madara Uchiha can be trusted, my lord?" Grafia asked with a tint of concern. "I believe he is the type of man that doesn't really care about opposition, unless the opposition is in his way. So if we are out of his way, he will be of no threat to us. But what if we are in his way? Then we will respond accordingly," Surzech said with a serious look and his eyes turning red, glowing with the power of destruction. "However, for now, I formed this alliance to keep a close eye on Madara and see what he will be up to. But I can sense the man is not an idiot, and probably knows I will be watching him. Hopefully this gamble pays off, and he becomes a valuable ally," Surzech concluded while loosening his tie. Riaz's room. Riaz was now laying on her bed with a beautiful smile on her face and relief in her heart as she is now free from the problem that has been bothering her for years and years. "Yufufufufufufu. Well, don't you look so happy?" Riaz Akino asked as she now entered the room and noticed Riaz smiling. "To be honest with you, Akino, I'm beyond happy. I am finally free. This has been my goal for years now. I have always tried to recruit the most unique and powerful of characters to my peerage. Don't get me wrong, I love you all and you are like family to me. But defeating Riser has always been in my mind, and now I'm finally free. I'm free, Akino," Riaz concluded with the tears in her eyes. "I knew very well, Riaz. We all knew. That's why we all followed you till your goal. You were there for us when we needed you, and we will always be there for you when you need us." Riaz jumped out of her bed and tackled Akino to the ground, giving her a bear hug, tears of joy running down her eyes. "I'm free, Akino. I'm free. This doesn't seem real. Thank you so much for sticking with me, my friend. I just have to say it one more time. I'm free. Thank you so much, Madara Uchiha." The last part she whispered to herself, so she could be the only one to hear it. "So what's next, Riaz?" Akino questioned while looking directly at Riaz. Riaz paused for a second after hearing that. "To be honest with you, Akino, I have never thought this far. I really don't know where to go from here. I wonder if I can't get Mr. Uchiha to train me," Akino said with a seductive smile on her face. "What do you mean, Akino?" Riaz questioned, being slightly confused. "Riaz, I am a lightning user, and never in my life have I seen a manipulation of lightning as good as Mr. Uchiha's. That lightning dragon he created was breathtaking. I simply must know, how did he do that?" "I suppose you're right. That dragon was jaw-dropping. I still cannot believe he created something so amazing. And the strange thing is that he seemed so casual about it, as if he has much better to offer," Riaz said, now getting off Akino and sitting on her bed. "He is such an enigma. He comes out of nowhere, and in my personal opinion, shows greater use of lightning than Thor or Zeus. I suppose that is debatable, Akino, but you must remember Zeus and Thor are known to be the gods of lightning in their respective beliefs, and the stories we have heard about them shouldn't be ignored. but they are not as interesting as Mr. Uchiha. Just thinking about him gets me excited, Akino said while rubbing her thighs. Let's get back on topic. I need to find a new objective to follow. Obviously I will help Oni-sama and the devils when they need me and fight off evil, but other than that I have nothing to pursue. Rias concluded, now looking at the roof of her room. The Phoenix Mansion. Madara and the two heads of the Phoenix clan were currently outside, entering a quite ridiculous enormous mansion. When the three entered the mansion through the front door, they were greeted by an obscene amount of servants, all ready to follow their command. Welcome back, Lord and Lady Phoenix. We are all so glad you have arrived safely. And a warm welcome to you too, Lord Madara Uchiha. They all greeted in unison. Yes, we have returned. Could one of you please brew us and our guests some tea? We will be conducting a meeting in the lounge, Lord Phoenix requested as he was making his way to the lounge. Please follow us, Mr. Uchiha, Lady Phoenix requested as she was now following her husband. Madara simply didn't respond and followed the two heads of the Phoenix clan. When they arrived at the lounge, the two heads of the Phoenix clan and Madara found Diana relaxing on a sofa drinking wine, Ravel eating some cookies, the whole of Riser's peerage, and a young man who looked like an older version of Riser. However, he was in proper noble clothing. My lord, you have finally arrived, Diana said with a jolt of excitement. Madara and the two heads of the Phoenix clan made their way to the sofa and each opposing party took a seat opposite each other in order to have face-to-face conversation. Just as Madara took his seat and placed his gun by next to him, Diana quickly got of her seat and proceeded to walk up to Madara and sit on his lap, making sure she gets comfortable. And what do you think you're doing? Madara asked in a bored tone. Finding a better seat, Diana replied with a grin on her face. Excuse me for my interruption, but my name is Ruvel Phoenix, the next heir of the Phoenix clan, and I would personally like to thank you for not killing my younger brother, Lord Madara. Madara looked to his right and found Ruvel occupying a single sit on the right side of the lounge. So you're supposedly the elder and the more gifted brother, huh? Madara questioned, resting his cheek on his fist. I wouldn't say gifted, but yes, I am the eldest son, Ruvel concluded with a nervous laugh. Speaking of killing, shouldn't some of you be dead? Madara questioned, looking directly at Yubaluna, which caused her to shiver uncomfortably. Technically yes, but also no, Lord Phoenix interjected, hoping to get the meeting underway. Explain, Madara demanded, giving him a very serious face. We are of the Phoenix clan, Mr. Uchiha. We are famed for rising from the ashes of death. It's in our blood and it is what makes us so respected, Lord Phoenix explained. The Phoenix clan are a special breed of devils that have inherent powers that are equivalent to that of the legendary creature, the fire bird, the phoenix. Therefore our trademark is that fact that we can regenerate from almost any injuries immediately, therefore making us near impossible to defeat. Ruvel continued the explanation. Then why stop me from attacking your brat? Madara asked with an annoyed tone. As my son said, Mr. Uchiha, we can generate from almost any injury, not all injuries, Lady Phoenix interjected. And as for why Oni-sama's peerage is still intact is because we have these. Ravel took out from her pocket a golden tear dropper that had a pink liquid in it. These are Phoenix tears. There are special tears that heal most injuries. However, they need to be administered immediately after an injury, if it is extremely severe, just like the one Yubaluna sustained from your attack, Lady Phoenix explained. So you see, Mr. Uchiha, if a lightning dragon was to attack my son, then there would be no way to save him, Lord Phoenix concluded. So what is the purpose of this meeting? Madara asked, trying to get back on topic. Yes, we have decided that we will give you the territory of Riser. I believe the fight you had with my son has humbled beyond a level we thought possible. The fact he saw that his life could have ended right there and then will teach him a thing or two about humility. And as a family we give you a collective thank you for changing our Riser, Lord Phoenix stated. Yes, thank you, Lord Madara. Oni-sama was going down a bad road with his arrogance and insecurities, and he was just becoming someone we didn't fall in love with. Riser's peerage agreed with a nod. So as a thank you, Riser's territory will now be yours, Ruvel stated. Just after Ruvel finished his sentence, a maid came in with a tray of tea and biscuits and laid it on the table for the Phoenix family and their guests. Ooh, can we go and see my lord's territory? Diana questioned. She then picked up a biscuit and tried to feed Madara. Of course, we can accompany you after we have. Lord Phoenix didn't finish his sentence as he found the scene in front of him very amusing. Play Naruto Ost Afternoon of Konoha. Come on, say ah. Diana was busy trying to feed Madara some biscuits, but it was clearly obvious he is not hungry. Come on now, be a good boy and say ah. Diana said once again, but this time in a cute baby voice. Madara just looked at her, completely unamused by her actions. Come on now, you need to keep up your strength. Big boys like you need to eat to stay strong. You find this amusing, don't you? Madara questioned. A little, Diana replied with a grin. Everyone else who was witnessing the scene found it very amusing and quite refreshing as Diana's little antics loosened some of the tension, giving them some room to breathe and relax a bit. Why don't you want to eat? Diana questioned with a sad pout. Madara just ignored her and tried to get back on topic. Now about this Terry. No, we will not talk about territory until you have eaten, Diana said in a cute tone, stopping Madara from continuing his conversation. Say yeah now. Diana kept persisting, bringing the biscuit closer and closer to Madara's mouth. Come on, it's easy, you just open up your mouth and have a bite. Madara just kept looking at her with an unamused facial expression. Enough of this, he thought to himself. He then used Kamui and caused Diana to phase right through him, causing her to fall on her ass on the tiled floor. End song. Ouch, what was that for? Diana whined with a sad pout on her face while rubbing her ass. Madara looked at the clocks that were on the wall opposite to him and noticed that it has been hours since he left home in the morning. The clocks behind you, do they represent the real world time or the underworld's time? Madara questioned, trying to understand what time those clocks represent. The underworld and human world times are in sync, so whatever time it is in the human world, it is the same here. Ruval explained. I see. Very well then, Diana, you will take care of things from here and see the territory these devils are offering. I have other matters to attend to, Madara said as he got up from his seat and grabbed his gun. Where are you off to, my lord? Diana asked, slightly confused that he is leaving so suddenly after seeing the time on the clock. Madara ignored her question and attached his gun to his back. Report back to me when you are done. After Madara said that he used Kamui and teleported away. And there he goes. Okay, so where were we? Diana asked, now sitting down and facing Lord and Lady Phoenix. With Asia. Asia was going through her school day with a completely somber mood. Throughout the whole day she had ignored anyone who tried to talk to her, and refused to eat her lunch, just deciding to stay depressed. Everyone that was in Issei's class, and including Issei himself, tried absolutely everything to cheer her up. But they failed miserably. She was just not in the mood. And when she was in class, just sat in the far corner staring outside the window. Everyone eventually gave up and decided the best course of action was to let her be in hope she will come around tomorrow. Right now Asia could be found on the rooftop, leaning on the railing, just observing the scenery in front of her. She made sure to lock the door behind her so that she could be left alone and not bothered by anyone. Asia kept replaying her elder brother's response to her request of spending time together on her birthday. And it truly felt like a dagger to the heart. Tears began to run down her face, and she placed her right hand on her chest, as if trying to soothe the pain with her hand. Oh big brother, this is so painful. You were the only one that really gave me attention. The first one to listen to my story, and the first one to really show me true genuine kindness without expecting anything in return. And now you have left me all alone. I don't want to be alone. I want to be with you, to spend time with you, to have fun with you, and to have many laughs with you. But I guess I can never have that kind of relationship. I will always be alone. She then brought her head down and continued to cry her eyes out. Hey Asia, let me walk you home. Asia looked down and saw it was Issei busy waving at her, trying to get her attention. Asia broke out a small smile, seeing that someone still gives her attention. Okay, I will be down there in a minute. Asia proceeded to go down the stairs to reach ground level and meet up with Issei. When she finally met up with him, she broke out a soft smile, effectively thanking him for his kindness, and they both proceeded to walk to the gates of the school. Asia kept her head down and Issei kept his mouth shut, knowing very well she didn't want to talk. They kept walking to the gate. But Issei noticed someone standing at the gates of the school holding something that looked like a balloon. Wait a minute, is that sensei? Issei asked, squinting his eyes in order to get a better look. Asia immediately raised her head after what Issei said, to have a look at who he was talking about. And when she got closer to the gate, she could see it was in fact her elder brother. Big brother, is that you? Asia asked, slightly confused, then noticed he was carrying a balloon that had some text on it. When she got a closer look, she could see the text on the balloon read out, "Happy birthday." When Asia finished reading the text on the balloon, she broke out a wide smile and ran full force towards Madara. When she was a few feet away from him, she opened up her arms and proceeded to give Madara the biggest and tightest hug of her life. So you came after all. Asia's voice could barely be heard as she had buried her face into Madara's chest, taking in his scent and crying tears of joy. After a couple of minutes, Asia finally let him go and looked directly at his face with a beautiful bright smile. Madara just looked down at her with a calm expression and eventually used two of his fingers to poke her on the forehead. You got my shirt wet with your tears. Asia just continued to smile at him, ignoring the small pain on her forehead. Madara then gave her the balloon and decided to walk away from her. Well, you coming or not, child? I can tell you haven't had anything to eat. Madara questioned, still walking away. Asia's stomach began to grumble from the lack of food, and she was slightly embarrassed. She then looked at Issei and gave him a small bow. Thank you, eyes. I truly am grateful for the kindness and attention you showed me today. She then gave him one more smile and ran up to Madara. When she reached Madara, she decided to lock her arms with his right arm and rest her head against his arm, truly embracing this moment she is having with her elder brother and enjoying the cool spring breeze. Scene break. Madara and Asia started her birthday adventure by getting some food into their system. Asia took advantage of her older brother's generosity by placing the biggest order of diabetes Madara had ever witnessed. She had plates of delicious food and teeth-decaying desserts spread all over the table. As Asia was ingesting the obscene diabetes on the table, Madara just watched her, and it reminded him so much of how he and his younger siblings used to be so carefree when there was no war to fight in. No wars, no more bloodshed, just peace. That is all I ever wanted. Hashirama, the sage, Asura, their legacies brought peace and united the people. The Uzumaki brat was able to bring together the allied shinobi forces, strength and love. I was missing the other piece to complete my dream. Madara continued to watch Asia, seeing the absolute joy she is having eating all the delicious food on the table and being in his company. This child, she is happy when around me and cares deeply for me. What have I done to receive this kind of affection? That nine-tailed brat had the whole army fight for him and die for him. Was love really the missing link all this time? Did we of the Uchiha love too much and desire power too much? We are known to be the clan that loves the most. However, we never had balance. It was either one extreme or the other. Asia saw her older brother in deep contemplation and was worried if something was bothering him. Big brother, is everything all right? Tell me, child, why do you hold so much affection for me? What have I done for you to create such a bond with me and place me so deep in your heart? Asia put her fork down and gave Madara a gentle smile. It's because you were kind to me, big brother. When me and you first met, you could have easily just walked away like everyone else or taken advantage of me. I am a young defenseless girl after all. But you didn't. You actually gave me the time of day and put food in my stomach. And now I have a roof over my head. You have practically saved me, big brother. I have never had a bond like this with anyone ever. A single tear ran down her right cheek. I don't know my parents, and my whole life was in the church healing people. Those people looked at me like a shiny trophy and not a person. And when I accidentally healed a devil, I was labeled a witch and they kicked me out. I wandered the streets hoping, praying and begging for some kindness, but never got any. Madara just sat there, resting his cheek on his arm and letting part of his hair cover his eye, digesting the information he is hearing. Until you came along, big brother. You not only looked at me but gave me attention, listened to my story, saved me from starvation, and you are now taking care of me. I can't do anything else but love and care for you. You are my big brother and I will do anything for you, and if it comes down to it, I will die for you. Because this is the first time I have ever had a bond like this. You mean everything to me and you will always be in my heart. Madara just sat there, amazed that he would be able to form such a connection. This bond she holds so dearly reminded him of the bond Hashirama held with him. Even after all he has done, Hashirama still looked at Madara as a friend. HMPH, very well then, child. I am starting to understand your strong emotions towards me. Continue getting fat by stuffing your face like a pig. Asia was shocked that Madara said that and got slightly insecure. Hey, don't say that. I am a young growing girl after all. Asia continued to babble excuses to Madara, and he just sat there revealing a small smile, enjoying a moment that wasn't plagued by war. Is this what you meant, Hashirama? When you kept preaching about love, I will use both love and strength to obtain peace. This time I will not fail. Scene break. Asia and Madara kept moving around town, exploring all it had to offer. Asia forced Madara to go to places he really didn't care for, and currently two of them were at an arcade. Asia was currently drooling over a teddy bear that was in a glass cabinet in one of the games. Madara noticed this and saw how much she really wanted the stuffed animal. He then turned his attention somewhere else and could see the same game in another corner of the room. Some boy was trying his absolute hardest to get a prize so he could impress the girl he was with. As Madara kept watching and understanding how the game works, he noticed strange movements of the crane and how it always almost lets go of the prize just before it gets to the drop zone. So the premises of this game is to use the hook to grab an item and drop it in the drop zone. But by observing the hook's movements, it has a set mechanism that forces the hook to drop the item before it reaches the drop zone. Very smart tactic to drain people's income, Madara thought to himself. Madara then took out a coin and inserted it in the machine. Asia saw that her elder brother was gonna try play the game in order to win her the teddy bear, and she got really excited. As Madara inserted the coin, The machine roared to life and the hook began to jerk around. He grabbed the joystick and directed the crane above the teddy bear. He dropped the crane and it hooked onto the teddy bear's ear. Everything was proceeding as normal. Madara raised the crane and it raised the teddy bear with it. He then directed it to the drop zone. As it was heading there, the crane was nearing the area where the mechanism forces the crane to let go. Just as it was about to reach the area, Madara used a small voltage of his lightning to shock the crane and bypass the mechanism, allowing the teddy bear to reach the drop zone. He pressed the button on the joystick and the teddy bear was dropped, allowing Madara to claim his prize. He then looked at the stuffed animal and gave it to Asia, as he did not have a use for it. Asia gave him an extremely happy smile and took the teddy bear, giving it a tight hug. "Oh, thank you, big brother, I will treasure it always." Madara just shook his head, not understanding the appeal of having a stuffed animal as a prize. He then took one more look at the machine and could see a beautiful diamond necklace with an emerald pendant in the middle. That was just an incredible match with Asia's eyes. "I think I'm gonna name him Madara-kun. Come on, big brother, let's go claim my prize." "You go ahead, child. I will catch up with you shortly." Asia did what she was told and went to the arcade counter to claim her prize. After she did, she exited the arcade waiting for her elder brother to arrive. After about 10 minutes he came out. Asia then locked her left arm with his right and held her Madara-kun in her other arm. Scene break. Madara and Asia were currently on a park bench watching the sunset, with Asia enjoying a vanilla ice cream and cuddling up next to her brother. Madara just placed his hands at the back of his hands and leaned back on the park bench with his eyes closed. "This is nice, big brother. I couldn't ask for a better birthday gift than to spend time with you. This is all I ever wanted." Madara opened one of his eyes, noticing the bliss on Asia's face, reminding him so much of when he and Izuna would play around as young children, not having a care in the world, and how Izuna would have the same sort of bliss Asia is having right now, when he was always playing with Madara. "Speaking of gifts, I never gave you one, did I?" Madara then went into his pocket and grabbed a rectangular box out of his pocket. "What do you mean?" a slightly confused Asia asked, not expecting a birthday gift, as all she wanted was some quality time with her older brother. Madara just gave her the box and simply went back to his seating position, having his arms at the back of his head and closing his eyes. Asia opened the box and what she saw shocked her to no end. Inside the box was a beautiful diamond necklace that had an emerald pendant in the middle, and the surrounding diamonds were the color of gold, going unbelievably well with her hair and eyes. Asia started shaking and she covered her mouth with her hands, completely overwhelmed with shock. Tears eventually ran down her eyes and she looked at Madara, seeing he was completely calm, just enjoying the spring breeze. "Why, what was that, child?" Madara asked, opening one of his eyes. Asia then tackled Madara to the ground and gave him an even tighter hug than before. "Why, big brother, you didn't have to." "I can't really explain why, child. I suppose I wanted to." The waterworks now came in full effect. "Oh, big brother, I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. I can't thank you enough. You mean too much to me, and I will always be by your side. Although the gift is amazing, it's the thought that really touches my heart. For you to get this for me, it means so much. Thank you so much, big brother." Madara just looked at Asia and flicked his two fingers on her forehead. "You cry too much, child. Now let's go home." Asia just smiled at him and released him from her hug. When Madara got up, he dusted himself off and picked up the box, giving it to Asia one more time. "Wait, I wouldn't want anyone else to do this, so big brother, can you please put on the necklace for me?" Asia questioned, now grabbing her hair, exposing the back of her neck so Madara would have an easy time putting on the necklace. Madara then took the necklace out of the box and placed on Asia's neck, making sure to hook up the back so it doesn't come off. Asia let go of her hair and took a look at the pendant that is now dangling from her neck, completely overwhelmed with love for her older brother. "Thank you, big brother. I will always cherish it. Let us depart now. It is getting late," Madara said, now walking off into the sunset. Asia quickly gathered the rest of her things and caught up to him. Scene break. Asuka just finished her last class and was getting ready to leave campus. She said her goodbyes to a couple of her friends and exited the gates of Tokyo University. It was close to nightfall, so Asuka knew she would need to hurry back home. She opened her bag and put on her hoodie that she has placed in the bag. Once she covered her head with the hoodie, she put some earphones on, sending the signal to any guys that she is not interested in talking. As she was walking the streets, she noticed it was slowly become less and less crowded. This didn't bother her that much as she really was not in the mood to talk to any scumbags. She kept walking and entered the neighborhood that was just before the apartment complex. As she kept on walking, she noticed it was strangely quiet. Normally she would see a couple of kids playing around, a few drunk bastards trying their luck, and some mothers hanging the family washing outside. But today there was none of that, and it greatly discomforted her. It's quiet today, too quiet. When Asuka turned the corner, she was now completely alone with no one in sight. She stopped dead in her tracks and took a 360-degree turn to see if anyone was around, but found nothing. Hello? Is anyone there? Hot piece of ass right here if you want some. She got no response. This really began to freak her out, and she decided to make a run for the apartment complex. Just as she was running, there were 3 figures on the rooftop watching her and making sure she was in their field of vision. Asuka saw them and really started to freak out. She ran as fast as she could, hoping to get home. Just as she was a kilometer away, one of the figures appeared in front of her. She stopped dead in her tracks to take a look at this mysterious figure. In front of Asuka was a tall, middle-aged looking man with short black hair and dark blue eyes. His attire consists of a pale gray trench coat over a white dress shirt, black pants and shoes, a pair of black gloves, and a black fedora. Hey Rainer, you sure this girl is the one? The man questioned, analyzing Asuka. Rainer appeared right beside him and had a closer look at Asuka. Oh yes, she is the one the boss is looking for. And since when did you start questioning my judgment, Donasik? I'm just making sure. I always like to do a job with no errors. The man now named Donasik answered back to Rainer. Can we just get this going? It's getting cold out here. The last figure appeared behind Asuka. When Asuka turned around, she saw a tall and buxom woman with gold eyes and navy blue hair that covered her right eye. Her outfit consisted of a maroon blazer that exposed some of her cleavage and a matching maroon mini-skirt that covered very little of her lower body. Take it easy, Warner. There is no need to rush, Rainer responded in a slightly annoyed tone. Asuka was shaking fear, wondering what the hell is going on. Just who the hell are you guys? Well, aren't you rude? Donasik responded, looking Asuka dead in the eyes. We are fallen angels and we are here to kidnap you, Rainer stated with a sadistic grin. You gonna what? Asuka asked with wide eyes. Let's go already, we do not want to keep the boss waiting, Warner stated in a bored tone. Asuka quickly tried to sucker punch Donasik, but he saw it from a mile away and grabbed her hand, holding onto it with a vice grip. Oh my, we got a lively one, Rainer stated, slightly amused. Warner didn't waste time and karate chopped Asuka at the back of the neck, putting Asuka on the ground with temporary paralysis. Let's go, we don't have time to waste. You such a wet blanket, you know that, but fine, let's go. Rainer took hold of Asuka's body and they all flew off into the night. Madara, please help me, Asuka barely muttered before being completely knocked out. Speech, do not undermine the ability of the Uchiha. Inner thoughts, is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do, fire style fireball, just do. The gates of the apartment complex. Today was the best day ever. I really appreciate you spending the day with me, big brother. Big brother. Big brother. We currently find Asia and Madara standing outside the gates of the apartment complex. However, since arriving at the gates, Madara has kept his attention on the neighborhood to his left, something about it giving Madara a bad vibe. Hello, big brother, is something the matter? Asia questioned in confusion as she turned her attention to where Madara was looking and found nothing out of the ordinary. Just a plain old neighborhood. Asia, go to the apartment and lock the door behind you. I will be there shortly, Madara instructed, now activating his Sharingan. Asia, seeing his eyes, began to worry that they were in danger. You scaring me, big brother, what's going on? Madara just looked at her dead in the eyes, giving her a very serious face. Listen to what I have just told you. Go to the apartment and lock the door behind you. I will be there shortly, Madara demanded in a strong tone. Asia, seeing how serious her elder brother was, didn't want to disobey him, so she picked up her things and went up the stairs to the apartment. Sage, you can sense that, don't you? Madara questioned, starting a mental conversation with the residents of his mind. Yes, I can, Madara. It does seem familiar, doesn't it? What are you two talking about? Indra interjected. Go and look through Madara's memory, then you will understand better, my son. Madara decided to walk down the street that would lead him to the neighborhood that has caught his attention. When he was about a kilometer away from the apartment complex, he stopped dead in his tracks. The energy is strong here, isn't it, Madara? You seem to be right, Sage. I suppose having the ability to gather natural energy does have its uses. You should never underestimate Sage Mode, Madara. Even though it is a far weaker version of Six Paths, its sensing ability is still elite. Say as you will, Sage, Madara concluded. He then began to examine his surroundings and found 2 items that sparked his interest. He found some white earphones on the floor and decided to pick them up for a better view. Doesn't this belong to the girl? Madara questioned himself as memories of Asuka dancing around the living room with earphones in her ears were flashing through his mind. He then looked a few centimeters to the right and found a black feather on the ground. He then picked it up and began to understand what just happened here. Black feather, crow-like in design. It would seem that the fallen angel has made an appearance yet again, and it would seem that she had an encounter with the girl. Madara thought to himself. So what's your plan, Madara? I suppose it is time I dealt with that crow once and for all, Madara concluded, now looking at the sky. Unknown location. Drip, 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 drip. Arg, where am I? Asuka questioned, finally waking up from her blackout. She could tell she was in a dark room due to the fact she couldn't see anything, and the only thing she could hear is drips of water in the background. She tried to move her body, but soon realized that she was chained up pretty tightly, with no chance of breaking free. What the? These guys got me chained up. No shit, Sherlock. A voice could be heard in the background and it greatly frightened Asuka. She quickly turned her head to where the voice was coming from, but could not pinpoint the exact location due to the fact the room was too dark. Oh yeah, you can't see me. Let me switch on the light for you, the voice said. Then a clap of the hands could be heard and the lights switched on. With the lights on, Asuka could see she was in a large basement that looked like it had a 15th century design to it. You that chick that dresses up like a porn star. The name is Rainier Girl, and I wouldn't be insulting anyone if I was in your position. What the hell do you mean? Asuka didn't finish her question as when she looked around her she could see she was chained up to a cross in like a Jesus Christ-like manner. What the hell do you people want with me? Asuka questioned in a slightly scared tone. Oh no girl, it's not what we want, but it's what the boss wants, Rainier stated with a smirk on her face. The moment after Rainier finished her statement, footsteps could be heard coming down the steps towards the basement. After a couple of more steps, a figure could be seen at the entrance of the basement. However, the figure was too far from Asuka for her to have a clear visual of the figure. The figure drew nearer and eventually to the point where Asuka could have a clear visual. The figure walking towards her was a middle-aged man with long black hair and red eyes. However, one distinct feature about him is that he has long pointy ears. His outfit currently consists of a black robe with some detailed accessories. Oh Lord Cockabeel, I was just making sure the Rainier wasn't able to finish, because the man now named Cockabeel slapped her across the face with such intensity it sent her to the ground. Move, Cockabeel said, now walking past Rainier and towards Asuka. When he was a few feet away from her, he stopped and just looked at her face with a menacing smirk. How do you do, my dear? My name is Cockabeel and you have something that I want. What do you mean? Asuka questioned, now beginning to fidget in fear as his red eyes was piecing the very depths of her soul. Oh right, you haven't awakened it yet, have you? To simplify things, my dear, you are arguably the most important human alive at this current moment. What the hell does this all mean? What the fuck is going on? Who the hell are you? Alright then, let me start from the very beginning. Cockabeel then decided to grab a chair and sit right in front of Asuka, making sure to get comfortable. First and foremost, my dear, I am a fallen angel, one created from God and was given the name the Star of God. However, the old man and I had some problems and he kicked me out of heaven, therefore changing me from pure angel to fallen. What? So you telling me the Christians got it right? Asuka asked, not believing God ever existed. To be honest with you, my dear, everyone who believed in a god or gods got it right. The supernatural world always existed and all the different creatures that you heard about in fiction and fairy tales do in fact exist. What a minute. So that woman I met, Diana, she was actually Dracula. I thought she was some crazy European bitch with fake fangs role-playing as the female Dracula. Asuka said to herself, her brain still trying to come to grips with the fact that the supernatural world exists. Now, back to you, my dear. The reason why you are unbelievably special is due to the fact you have two of the greatest spirits in Christian belief. What do you mean by that? Asuka asked in a confused tone. You have the spirit of Christ, but also at the same time, you have the spirit of the Antichrist. I don't understand. Let me break it down for you. In the Holy Bible, one of the most famous claims from the book is the second coming of Jesus Christ. But the book also claims that the Antichrist will come to wreak havoc upon the world. So what are you telling me? You, my dear, have been blessed as well as cursed with the two spirits of Christ. Back when there was a war between angels, fallen angels and devils, the devils were losing badly. So in order to punch back, they released their trump card, the Antichrist. The bastard was beyond powerful, a true successor of Lucifer, but God always had a plan and released Jesus to fight back. Flashback. Damn it, the angels and fallens have backed us into a corner. These were the words coming from the current general of the devil army, Prince Rizvam Libin Lucifer, the second born of the devil god Lucifer. He was a young-looking man approaching his early 30s with long dark silver hair and hazel eyes. He was dressed in an incredible regal silver armor that clearly showed he was in charge. "We are getting dominated, my lord, what shall we do?" A young devil Solider questioned Rizvam in a distressed tone. "Damn it, I cannot disappoint father like this," Rizvam said to himself, clearly seeing the battle is not in their favor. At the current moment, it was a complete massacre for the devils as they were being attacked from both sides, one from the angels and the other side from the fallens. Although they are not allies, both sides still wish to please their creator god of the Bible by destroying the devils. Ha ha ha, now this is what I'm talking about, this is pure bliss. Come on my brothers and sisters, let's show these devils the power of the fallen angels, Cockabeel said with pride as he was slicing and dicing his way through devils in order to get to Rizvam. "Damn, it looks like I have no choice," Rizvam said to himself as he could see they needed a plan and fast. "Father, I need your help, we are being overrun," Rizvam said as he created a magic circle in front of his mouth relaying the message. "Your brother is on his way." A dark and sinister voice replied back from the magic circle. "I guess it is time you revealed yourself, elder brother," Rizvam muttered underneath his breath with a menacing smirk, knowing very well his father is now using his trump card to win the battle. After a few more minutes, an incredibly terrifying roar could be heard, and it caused the whole battlefield to shake as if it was a victim of an unbelievably intense earthquake. Everyone stopped what they were doing, as the sheer force of the roar had everyone shocked as well as slightly terrified. After a few more seconds, the roar stopped and the battlefield was completely calm. "What the fuck was that?" Cockabeel asked himself with wide eyes as he has never heard something so terrifying. Crash, right in the middle of the battlefield. A piece of the land looked as if it was just hit with a missile, as there was something that came from the skies with obscene speed and crashed right in the middle of the battlefield. Whatever crashed into the battlefield caused a huge dust cloud, which made it impossible for anyone to see what just crashed landed. "It is time, elder brother, show them why we of the devils are the most evil of creations," Rizvam said out loud, then broke out into a psychotic laugh. The dust cloud began to disappear and it revealed a giant crater in the middle of the battlefield. When the dust cloud was completely gone, there was something black and dark standing in the middle of the crater. When everyone got a closer look as to what was in the crater, they couldn't find the words to describe the thing that just entered the battlefield. It looked like a man, but instead of his body being composed of flesh and blood, its body was composed of shadows and dark clouds, with the only different feature is that it had menacing red eyes. "What is that thing?" Cockabeel questioned in a slightly nervous tone as the thing that was in the middle of the battlefield gave of an unbelievably dark wave of energy. "So are you finally ready to kill my brother?" Rizvam asked as he now appeared next to the thing he calls his brother. "Kill, kill, 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 kill." Rizvam's brother screamed with that same terrifying roar that once again caused the whole battlefield to start shaking uncontrollably, and its aura started planting seeds of fear in the hearts of the angels and fallens. The thing finally stopped screaming, and the whole battlefield became calm once again, but the hearts on the angels and fallens was anything but calm. "Good, my brother, now go out there and kill all the angels and fallen angels you see. Show them the true power of the Antichrist." The Antichrist roared one more time after hearing Rizvam's request, and charged straight for the angels and the fallens, killing any one of them that was close to him. It was a complete and utter bloodbath, as the Antichrist made the whole scene look like a horror movie. It was going around pulling the wings off the backs of angels, punching their heads off their bodies, ripping off their arms and legs, and bathing in the blood of its victims. The two armies began to quiver in fear, and they all decided to run from that abomination called the Antichrist. "Retreat, retreat." One of the generals of the angels screamed in fear, as he could see they were no match for the Antichrist. They didn't think twice and began running and flying away as far as possible. "Oh no you don't, ATTSCKK," Rizvam shouted, and his army responded accordingly by charging straight after the angels and the fallens, making sure to take full advantage of this opportunity. The devils sent a barrage of attacks, weapons and familiars after the angels and fallens, causing the two armies' numbers to drop at an incredible rate, and with the Antichrist on their side they could very well win the war. and become the superior race. Damn it, no. How could this happen? We were supposed to be the superior race, not these insects, Cockabeel said with a frustrated tone as he was watching the Antichrist feed on the bodies of his former and current brothers and sisters. In heaven, it was complete havoc in the ultimate paradise as angels were flying around making sure to go to the different departments of heaven. Some were putting on their armors getting ready to deploy, and a large amount of angels rushed to the gates of heaven to make sure no one intruder entered the Holy Land. Father, we are in serve trouble and need your guidance, a young angel Soliter said as he burst into the temple of God and bowed before the Almighty One. Calm thyself, my child. I already know what is happening. Looks like Lucifer has released his son, God said in a completely calm tone, not being fazed by the dramatic change of events. What shall we do, Father? The young angel asked, still keeping his head bowed to show his respect. Thank you, Father. The young angel then left to regroup with his fellow angels. Jesus, God called out, and a golden magic circle appeared in front of God, and it revealed his only begotten Son. Yes, Father, Jesus said as he bowed before his Father, showing his love and respect. It would seem your opposite has entered the battlefield, God said as he looked down on his son. I see. So Lucifer is getting serious then, Jesus said, now looking at his father in the eye. Yes, my son, Lucifer really wishes to end our reign as the superior race, and your opposite is doing quite a good job making sure Lucifer's desires become a reality. So what shall we do, Father? You will be deployed, my son. I am not yet needed for this battle, however your brothers and sisters need you. So do what you do best and save the children of Israel, my boy, God said with a loving smile. Of course, Father, let's end Lucifer's reign of terror, Jesus replied, also with a loving smile. He then teleported to his own temple and put on his golden armor, getting ready to fight for God and his people. He then teleported to the gates of heaven. My lord, are you going to join the fight? A female angel Soliter questioned, seeing her king in the most glorious armor she has ever seen. Yes, my sister, please open the gates for me. I need to go and handle the situation, Jesus replied in a calm tone as he walked past her. In her eyes, his walk was the most elegant and beautiful thing she has ever seen. Open the gates. Our king is on his way to battle, the Soliter said out loud, trying to grab the attention of the other angels that were guarding the gate. When they all looked at her direction, they were all completely shocked as to see who she was talking about, as Jesus kept making his way to the gates, and all the angels began to cheer with excitement and pride as they were finally gonna see their Lord and Savior in action. The gates opened fully for Jesus, and he walked past them, completely leaving heaven for the first time since he ascended to it from earth. He looked back and could see the tears of joy on the faces of his people, and it brought a smile to his face. We will win this, my brothers and sisters, that I can assure you. After saying that, Jesus walked to the edge of the clouds and looked down to see the battlefield. He closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Then when he was completely ready, he dived off the clouds and dashed at unheard of speed straight to the battlefield. The massacre kept going on as the angels and fallens were being brutally killed and attacked. All hope seemed to be lost, and the angels went down to their knees praying for assistance from their creator. After a few more minutes, a huge explosion could be seen from the skies, and trumpets could be heard by everyone who was in the battlefield. Everyone stopped what they were doing as they could see an extremely bright light coming down from the sky at a speed they didn't even think was possible. The light crashed right in the middle of the battlefield and caused an incredibly huge dust cloud that covered the whole battlefield, making it impossible to see what just crashed landed. When the dust finally settled and everyone could get a clear visual as to what just entered the battlefield, they all went wide-eyed as the person they saw enter the battlefield completely shocked them to no end. Is that Jesus? Cockabeel questioned, not believing what his eyes are showing him. But it is indeed Jesus, the only Son of the Holy One. No ways, God actually released Jesus, Risram said to himself as he knew now there was no chance of winning the battle. When the devils saw Jesus, they all immediately ran away as his aura alone was enough to mess with the nervous and magic system in their bodies. The angels all broke out in tears of joy as their Lord and Savior has come to their aid once again. Jesus just stood there completely composed, looking at his surroundings, seeing all the damage and destruction caused by this accursed war. He then looked straight ahead of him and could see the one he needed to battle, as it was still feeding off the bodies it has killed. The Antichrist finally noticed the holy aura that caused all his brothers and sister to run away, and when he looked at the direction as where the aura was coming from, he broke out a sinister smile. So you are my opposite, the one who has caused so much trouble for my father and my people. You will pay for your sins," Jesus stated in a calm voice, folding his arms and looking straight at the Antichrist. Kill, 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 KILLLJESUSSSSSS. The Antichrist screamed, then charged straight for Jesus with all its might. Jesus just kept his calm expression, seeing the Antichrist come full force for him. When it was a few feet from Jesus, Jesus extended his hand and blocked the Antichrist's punch with just a single finger. The intensity of the punch caused a massive shock wave to go past Jesus and towards the angels, which caused them to fly in different directions and lose their balance. Incredible. That thing put so much power into its punch and Jesus just stopped it with a finger. Cockabeel said to himself as he was in complete awe of how Jesus just handled that powerful attack. Unbelievable. He was able to stop elder brother's punch with just a single finger. He is beyond incredible. Rizram said as he has lost all hope of trying to win the battle. The Antichrist's eyes went wide, indicating its complete shock, as it put everything it had into that single punch. Now it is time for me to respond, Jesus said as he now closed his eyes and began to control his breathing. Play Dragon Ball Super Ultra Instinct theme. The Antichrist saw this and didn't waste time trying to give Jesus another punch, but Jesus dodged the punch instantly. The Antichrist tried again and again, but Jesus kept dodging again and again. Eventually Jesus took a setback to allow some space between himself and the Antichrist, and after a few seconds Jesus's hair began to float as if it had a life of its own, and a bright silver aura began to surround him. The Antichrist just stood and watched as it was beginning to feel an incredible rise in power from Jesus. Eventually the aura grew bigger and bigger and Jesus's appearance seemed to look extremely shin. He then opened his eyes, which has now changed from hazel to silver, and when he opened his eyes an indescribable wave of pressure spread throughout the battlefield, causing it to shake 10 times as worse than before. What is that power Lord Jesus is emitting? A young angel Solider asked, completely in awe of his Lord's power. It's called Ultra Instinct and it's our Lord's ultimate power, an angel veteran said as he stood next to the young angel. Ultra Instinct? I have never heard of it. That's because our Lord has never had a reason to use it until now. So how powerful is our Lord when in that form? The young angel asked, not being able to keep his eyes off Jesus. Kid, you have no idea what level Lord Jesus is on now. Although this is only the Ultra Instinct Omen and it's the first stage, Lord Jesus is by far the most powerful person on this battlefield. Omen, first stage. What do you mean by that? Oh yeah, I forgot you never knew of Ultra Instinct. Well, let me break it down for you, kid. Ultra Instinct is the ultimate stage of power. It is the be-all and end-all of forms and a complete mastery of one's body. However, no one has fully mastered Ultra Instinct. What do you mean by that? The young Solider asked, slightly confused. Ultra Instinct is an incredibly difficult state to obtain and a near impossible state to master. It took Lord Jesus years for him to finally enter that godly state. But as I said before, it's only the Omen and the first stage. So there are stages to this power. The young angel questioned, getting more and more interested in the conversation. Yes, there are a total of 3 stages when in the Omen. And our Father, God of the Bible, is the only one we know to have reached stage 3 of the Omen. However, even for our Father, mastering Ultra Instinct seems to be beyond his reach. No ways, really. Yes, our Father has tried many times but just can't seem to crack it. So we have only witnessed an incomplete form of Ultra Instinct. But even in his stage 3 Ultra Instinct Omen, Bahamut and Trihexa are the only beings stronger than God. Wait, I thought the 2 heavenly dragons, Ophis and Great Red, could also kill our Father. That was a lie God created in order to hide his true power. Only Bahamut, Great Red, Trihexa, Lucifer, Ophis and Lord Jesus know the true magnitude of our Father's power. And from what Lord Jesus has told me, if our Father can master Ultra Instinct, he will be without a doubt the strongest being in existence. Unbelievable. So the complete Ultra Instinct is a power so great even God cannot reach. The young angel stated in complete awe as his respect for God and Lord Jesus has reached new levels. Jesus just looked at his opposite with complete calmness, allowing his body to adjust to the insane amount of power that is Ultra Instinct. Why does Lord Jesus feel like a heater? The young angel asked, completely confused as to why the temperature around them got warmer. You truly are a character, kid. Lord Jesus's is emitting heat from the use of Ultra Instinct. It's one of the byproducts for using Ultra Instinct. It causes the user to release an incredible amount of heat. Just from his heat alone, Lord Jesus has enough energy to power up a whole planet. It is time I end this, Jesus said as he started taking steps to get closer to the Antichrist. And when the Antichrist saw Jesus coming closer, he instinctively started to step away from Jesus, fearing the absolute power its opposite was displaying. Jesus then dashed faster than the speed of light and appeared right in front of the Antichrist and punched it straight in the face, sending it flying. But the intensity of the punch made the Antichrist move as fast as a missile. Harem saw this and just didn't care anymore. To him, trying to take on Jesus is like trying to take on God himself. There was no point. And the fact now that Jesus was using Ultra Instinct just sealed the deal for the devils. We are all going to die. There is no point in trying. Jesus will end us all, Harem said to himself, watching hopelessly as his elder brother got decimated by a single punch. The Antichrist crashed into a mountain, completely destroying it, but was able to survive the collision. He climbed out of the rubble and dashed straight for Jesus, its mind completely filled with rage and thought of eating Jesus's body. The Antichrist tried punching and kicking, but to no avail as Jesus kept ducking and dodging, leaving after images of his body when making each movement. The Antichrist increased the tempo, making sure to punch faster and kick quicker, but still Jesus kept dodging its attacks effortlessly. But the thing that really angered the Antichrist is that when it looked at Jesus's facial expression, it could see that Jesus wasn't really that bothered or fazed. He just remained completely calm. Jesus then grabbed the Antichrist's hand, which greatly shocked the Antichrist because to it seemed like Jesus was holding onto its hand like a vice grip with no chance of escaping. It is time I end this. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, be gone, devil spawn. After Jesus said that, he extended his left arm, and forming in his hand was a beautiful golden sword with a cross-like handle that was radiating an incredible amount of holy energy. What a minute. It can't be that sword. It's Cockabeel didn't finish his sentence as his shock level went even further beyond. It really is over, isn't it? I can't believe Jesus has brought the full Excalibur. Harem muttered under his breath as he just went onto his knees, losing all will to fight. Goodbye, my opposite. After Jesus said that, he stabbed the Antichrist right in its torso, which caused the Antichrist serve pain. The Antichrist screamed in agony as it has never felt such holy power in its life, and after a few more minutes its body began to fade away, not being able to cope with the holy energy from Excalibur, until it eventually disappeared from existence. When the devils saw their trump card being defeated in such a casual manner, they all dropped to their knees, joining their commander in a sign of surrender. As Jesus was making his way to Harem, he heard an incredibly loud roar that caused yet another earthquake. And when he saw what caused the roar, he could see the two heavenly dragons fighting, and their brawl was heading to the direction of the angels, fallen angels and devils. Oh no, the two heavenly dragons, Jesus said with wide eyes, as he knew those two are complete juggernaut in terms of power. Everyone else involved in the battle turned their attention to the heavenly dragons and were completely consumed with fear, as they knew that both of the heavenly dragons could wipe out all of them. This is bad. With Ultra Instinct Omen, it will be really difficult to just beat one of them, but it is possible. To try to take on both of them will be suicide. I need to form a plan and fast, otherwise we will all die from those two, Jesus said as his face displayed a very serious expression. Jesus then looked around him and could see the hopeless look on the faces of the angels, fallen angels and devils. I think I might have an idea, Jesus thought to himself as he kept looking at the three Christian races. The real world. So what happened next? Asuka questioned, not liking to be left on a cliffhanger. Christ saw there was no chance he could take on both dragons alone, so he pleaded to all of us to form a temporary alliance to stop the heavenly dragons. Unfortunately, we did form it, and Jesus took the charge, leading everyone to stop the heavenly dragons. What happened after that? We all fought with everything we got, and Christ pushed his body to the absolute limit, using Ultra Instinct like he has never used it before, and it was just enough to take down the dragons. When Jesus saw the opportunity, he used whatever power he had to erase most of the memories of everyone who was present in the battle and seal the heavenly dragons into sacred gears. But why would Jesus want to erase everyone's memories? Asuka asked, not understanding Jesus's actions. Well, let me be more correct. It's not that Jesus erased people's memory, it's that he tried to plant fake ones. From what I have seen with the ones who were a victim of Jesus's memory manipulation, Jesus only left out the part of him using Ultra Instinct. It would seem he and God wished to keep the power of Ultra Instinct their ultimate secret. He didn't want anyone knowing of his true power. Asuka assumed, slowly understanding why Jesus planted fake memories in most of the people present in the war. Yes, for most people who survived the battle, to them everything went as normal, it's just that Jesus left out the part of Ultra Instinct. But there are some of us that know the complete truth, as our minds are not easily manipulated. Wait, then what about the Antichrist? From what you have told me, he died while fighting Jesus. Ah yes, just before the holy energy could completely consume the Antichrist, Lucifer used half of his power to save his son's soul and sent it free, hoping his son's soul could find its way to a human host. And what about Jesus then? Did he not survive? Ultra Instinct took its toll on Jesus. He could have survived, but trying to manipulate the memories of those present on the battlefield as well as trying to seal the heavenly dragon sealed his fate, and he died yet again. But God did the same as Lucifer, using some of his power to save his son's soul, and hoping it will find its way to a human host. Which is me, right? Asuka questioned, now connecting the dots. Now you getting it? I have been on the hunt for those two souls, and to my benefit, those two souls found a way to find a single host, which is you, my dear, and as I said before, you are without a doubt the most important human being in the world right now. So what are you telling me? Are you saying I can be as powerful as Jesus and the Antichrist? Not necessarily, my dear. It took Jesus a decade to enter Ultra Instinct, and also his body was of divine nature. You unfortunately are mortal with limits, so your body won't be able to cope with the absurd full power of those two. So is that how everything ended? Asuka asked. No, there is still more to the story, but that is irrelevant now. I only told you what you needed to know, Cockabeel said as he now got off the chair and went to get closer to Asuka. So what's next? Asuka asked. Well, what's next, my dear, is that you become my puppet and bring me glory, Cockabeel said, then stabbed Asuka in the chest with his bare hand. He then released some of his power into Asuka's body, hoping to awaken the two souls sleeping in her body. Asuka's eyes went extremely wide due to the immense pain she was feeling. She coughed up some blood and could feel two strange energies move around her body. Cockabeel then took out his hand from her chest and went to go take a seat to watch the transformation take place. Now we sit and wait, Cockabeel said with a sadistic smirk, determined to make the fallen angels the most glorious race out of the three main races. The next day, knock knock. Oh, Issei-kun, hello there, how you doing? Nikki currently opened the door of Madara's apartment and found Issei there dressed in his casual clothes due to it being a Saturday. Oh hey Nikki-san, is sensei around? Yes sure, Madara is around. He is in the living room with Asia. Nikki then made space for Issei to walk in. He bowed to her and made his way to the living room. When he reached the living room, he found Madara sitting in his favorite seat with his check resting on his right arm, and his left arm was extended with Madara twirling around a black feather in his hand. He also saw Asia seating on another sofa with the same depressed look he saw from yesterday. Asia, are you still sad about yesterday? Issei asked, being slightly worried that Asia might develop a serious form of depression. Asia looked up, and when she saw who asking the question, she broke out a soft smile. Oh hey Issei-kun. Oh no, I'm not sad about that anymore. Something new has come up. What do you mean by that? Issei questioned, now wondering what's the problem this time. It would seem that the girl has been kidnapped by that fallen angel me and you encountered before, Madara interjected, still keeping his eyes on the black feather. Wait, Asuka has been kidnapped? Well, why aren't you doing anything, sensei? Patience, boy. My clone has already been analyzing the headquarters of the fallen angels, and it is filled to the brim with patrols. I need to enter their base with a plan in mind. Oh okay, I was just coming through today because I was hoping you could at least train me, sensei. I did say I would train you, didn't I? Madara questioned, now looking at Issei. Yeah, you did. So how far have you progressed in awakening your power? Madara questioned, now turning his attention back to the feather. Oh yeah, I have been training with D-Drake, and I am finally able to activate my sacred gear. Huo, show me, Madara said, now putting his attention back on Issei. Boosted gear, Issei said out loud as he extended his left arm, and it transformed, changing into red gauntlet with glowing green jewel right in the middle of the gauntlet. Madara then got off his seat to have a closer inspection of Issei's sacred gear, still keeping his stoic facial expression. Interesting, and how many times can you boost yourself? About 3. D-Drake said, I still need to train my body in order for it to handle more. Alright, then I want you to punch the palm of my hand. First in your normal state, then punch my palm once again when you are fully powered, Madara said as he placed his right palm in front of Issei. Issei did as his sensei instructed, and he first punched Madara's palm with his base power, which was beyond laughable for Madara. Then he punched Madara's palm again, this time boosting his power 3 times, which was still pathetic, but Madara could feel the difference. I see, there is work that needs to be done on your body. We will begin your training in the next coming days. Immediately after Madara said that, his clone appeared in front of them. He gave the original Madara a nod, then dissipated, sharing all his knowledge with the original. Madara just stood there with his arms folded, slowly digesting the information his clone had shared, and realized that Rainier is planning on having a nap after being active the whole night guarding their base with the hundreds of patrols around. That Fallen is planning on resting. This seems to be the ideal time to infiltrate, as she will be alone, Madara thought to himself. He put his right middle and index finger together, then positioned his right hand just in front of his chest. But before he was about to teleport, He took one more look at Issei then had an idea. Change of plan. Boy, you will come with me. The experience of trying to infiltrate a base will do you some good. Wait, for real? Are you sure about that, sensei? Issei asked, slightly excited as he always wanted to do some cool ninja shit. Yes, experience can be the best teacher at times. Now come along, we only have a small window, Madara said as he extended his other arm for Issei to grab a hold on. Issei then grabbed his sensei's arm but had a very interesting question. Quick question, sensei. How on earth are we gonna just enter a heavily guarded headquarters and save Asuka? The time I defeated that fallen angel, I marked her body with a seal called Flying Rajan, which allows me to teleport to anywhere in existence as long as I have marked it with the Flying Rajan seal. So at this current moment that Fallen is in her room resting, we have the opportunity to enter the base without needing to go through the front gate. Oh snap, I didn't know you were that smart, sensei. But wait, doesn't Yuma see the seal on her body? No, the Flying Rajan seal disappears when it comes into connect with flesh, therefore making the victim completely oblivious to the fact that they have been marked. That's so cool, Issei said with stars in his eyes as he was in complete awe of his sensei's abilities. Big brother, Issei, you two please be careful. I don't want to lose another important person to me, Asia said while pressing her hands against her chest. Issei blushed after hearing he was someone important to Asia. Don't worry about it, Asia, we will make it back for sure. You don't need to worry about a thing. Asia broke out a smile, being a little more relieved that Issei was displaying this amount of confidence. Thank you, Aiz-kun, and please bring Asuka back. I want all three of you to come back home safely, okay? Sure, Asia, I will do everything in my power to come back with Asuka and Sensei, okay? Just wait for us, Issei said with a bright smile. Asia then got off the sofa and went to go give Issei a long and tight hug. After she did that, she went to go give Madara a hug, and when she hugged him she clung onto his shirt, not wanting to let go. Promise me, you will come back, big brother, Asia mumbled as she had buried her face in Madara's chest. This is not a war, child. It is simple rescue, miss. Promise me, Asia said in a much louder tone, not allowing Madara to finish his sentence as what he was saying was not the words she was looking for. I promise, child, I shall return. Now let me go so I can go save the girl. Okay. Asia struggled to let go of him, but eventually find the strength to do so and gave both them her most brightest smile, showing she has complete confidence in them both. Madara gave her one more look, and it felt slightly nice to him that he has someone that cares and worries for him to this extent. He now knows that when he comes home there will be someone waiting for him. Bye, was all Madara said as he and Issei teleported away, leaving Asia in the living room and Nikki in the kitchen. She found the whole interaction quite adorable and heartwarming. Rainer's room. Madara and Issei teleport straight to Rainer's bedroom, and she was sleeping peacefully in the bed. Due to Flying Rajan being marked on Rainer's body, Madara and Issei's appeared just above her and were about to land on top of her. Madara saw this, and in the unbelievably short time he quickly brought Issei closer towards him and used Kamui to allow both of them to phase through Rainer and the bed. After a few seconds they appeared from the ground at the other corner of the bedroom, and Madara let go of Issei. Oh shit, I'm in a girl's room right now, better tick that goal of my list, Issei said as he was slowly starting to get perverted thoughts. Lock the door, Hyodu, we need to have a little discussion with the fallen, Madara said as he used his lightning chakra to create a chakra blade in his hands. Issei didn't think twice and followed his sensei's instruction, going to the door and locking it. When Madara heard the door lock, he made his way to Rainer's, and when he was close enough he poked his sword on Rainer's body, which caused her to slowly wake up from the discomfort. 5 more minutes ... Plea ... Rainer didn't finish her sentence as when she looked up she could see Madara with his red glowing eyes really looking down at her, and a glowing blue sword pointed straight for her neck. Scream, and I will end you, Madara said, but after having a clear look on Rainer's face he could see something bad has been happening to her. Rainer didn't want to die, so she raised her hands in the air, completely showing her surrender while at the same time shivering in fear. You have been attacked, haven't you? Madara questioned, being able to see Rainer's busted lip, swollen nose and black eye. Rainer just kept her mouth shut and nodded at Madara's question, hoping to get out of this situation alive. Yuma, what's happened to you? Are you okay? Issei asked in a worried tone as he made his way to his former girlfriend, examining her face. Well, answer the boy, Madara said, monitoring every single part of her body to make sure she doesn't make any sudden movements. Lord Cockabeel ... beat me, Rainer said with a defeated and ashamed voice. Let me have a look, Issei said as he put his hands on Rainer's face, still obviously showing he still has feelings for his former girlfriend. So this Cockabeel character you speak of, he is your master? Madara questioned, making sure his sword was pressed nicely against her neck. Rainer just nodded at Madara's question, but her fear levels dropped a bit as she found Issei caressing her face rather soothing and easing her pain. And yet you still take orders from a man that beats you? Issei questioned in an angered tone, still making sure to be extremely careful with each touch he made, which Rainier greatly appreciated. You don't understand. I don't have a choice. If I don't follow Lord Cockabeel's orders, I will be killed. He is a savage ruler with an unbelievable amount of power, Rainier said as she looked at Issei with tears forming in her eyes. So that is why you came after Hyodu and the girl. It was because of this Cockabeel, wasn't it? Madara questioned, still keeping his sword on her neck. Rainier just nodded, tears slowly running down her face. She kept her attention on Issei. I'm so sorry, Issei. I didn't mean to kill you. I had no choice. It's either I do it or he kills me. Issei, being the man that he is, couldn't stand to see a woman cry, so he moved a bit closer and sat on the edge of Rainier's bed and gave her a comforting hug. Madara, seeing that she wasn't lying, finally pulled back his sword and rested it on his shoulder. It's okay, Yuma. I'm alive thanks to Sensei here, and I forgive you, but we need to know where Havasuka holed up. Rainier completely broke down within his arms, letting the floodgate run open as she cried her heart out while clinging on to Issei for dear life. After a few minutes, Rainier was able to compose herself, but she really did love the fact she was in a man's arms instead of being a victim of a man's arms. Thank you, Issei, she said, looking up to him now, giving him a warm smile. And to answer your question, Asuka's being held in the basement. Very well then, let us move, Hyodu, Madara said as he was making his way to the door. Wait, Sensei. Look, Rainier, Yuma, whatever your name is, I don't want to just leave you here being abused. Please, I beg of you, come with us. We will take care of you, Issei stated as he looked Rainier in the eyes, and she was left speechless. What are you doing, boy? Madara questioned after hearing Issei's statement. I'm doing what I feel is right, Sensei. Please, I beg of you, have some sympathy. If it was Asia in this situation, you wouldn't want her to be left behind. Look, for your goal of world peace, you need more people on your side. Yuma could be an addition to the crew, so please, Sensei, I beg of you. And you, Yuma, please come with us. Remember, Madara, these were your words. For peace to be achieved, both love and power are necessary. Hagoromo's words echoed in Madara's mind. Sure, I really need a way out of here, and if you guys are willing to take me, I will gladly join. I can't spend another day in this hellhole. Damn it, since when did I become this soft? Madara thought to himself. He then turned around and marched straight for Rainier, making sure he got up all close and personal. Please, Sensei, Issei didn't finish his sentence as Madara covered Issei's mouth with his hand. Silence. Now listen here, Fallen. If you are to join me, you must completely devote yourself to me and my goal. I do not have the time for betrayals and disloyalty. You have a choice now: stay here in your misery or join me in order to achieve world peace, Madara said with his sharing and glowing, making sure to express his dominance and determination. Yes, sure, I will, Rainier said, completely bewildered how a human can have so much authority. It was something that was slowly getting her respect. Madara looked at her one more time, before removing the bed sheets, revealing Rainier's battered and bruised body. No ways, you have been completely beaten up, Issei said, now seeing the damage the rest of her body has obtained from Cockabeel's abusive actions. She was covered in white lashes and had scars all over her body. She cannot move around in this condition. I need to heal here somehow. Using the King of Hell is too risky as it will alert others of some strange power. Damn, it looks like I have no choice, and I really wanted to experiment further with this magic, Madara thought to himself as he took out a golden liquid dropper from his pocket. Here, take this, Fallen, and heal yourself, Madara said as he threw her the golden tear dropper. What is this? Rainier questioned, hoping Madara wasn't giving her poison or some kind of mind control potion. It's called a Phoenix Tear, and it is to heal your wounds. No ways. You got a Phoenix Tear. Do you know how rare these are, and you willing to use one on me? Wow, I don't know what to say. Thank you. Rainier then drank the Phoenix Tear and her whole body was completely healed and recovered. Now let us move. Time is of the essence. Wait, before we leave, I know a couple of more people that may be willing to join your cause. That's if you are willing to let them join, my lord. Fine, show me them, Madara said with an exhausted tone. Rainier then got out of her bed and made her way towards Madara while holding hands with Issei. She then created a magic circle and teleported all of them to the opposite end of their headquarters. Rainier teleported herself, Madara and Issei to an abandoned-looking game room, hoping to find her close companions Calawarner, Donaseek and Middle, which to her luck she found all battered and bruised but to a lesser extent compared to her. Rainier, what are you doing with humans? A young girl asked. She had blonde hair styled into twin tails and blue eyes. She wore a gothic Lolita attire which consisted of a black Lolita dress with white frills, a large black bow on the front and a green jewel embedded on the collar, white thigh-high socks and black shoes. She also wore a large black bow on top of her hair. Calm down, Middle. These two humans are our ticket out of here, Rainier said, still holding on to Issei's hand. What do you mean, Rainier? Calawarner asked, looking at the two humans in front of her. Listen, there is not much time to explain, but basically the guy with the long hair is the human that defeated me comfortably that other day. Now he has some big ambitions and he is willing to let us join his cause and give us a one-way ticket out of this hellhole. So are you guys in or out? Screw it, I might probably regret this, but I'm willing to join. It beats getting punched in the face for the amusement of some sick bastard. Donasek said as he made his way to Madara to join up with him. You want a better explanation later, but fuck it, I will also join. Calawarner said as she also made her way towards Madara and them. Well, Midult, are you coming or not? Rainier questioned, hoping she will come around and join them. Sure, Lord Cockabeel has been nothing but a nightmare. Perhaps this man can be a better leader, Midult said as she made her way towards them. What's your name, mister? Midult asked, now being directly in front of Madara. I am Madara Uchiha and you all will assist me in my goal. But for let us depart, we need to rescue the girl before it's too late. After he said that, Rainier teleported all of them to the basement where they found it was surprisingly empty and quiet dark. When they all looked ahead, they could see Asuka hanging on the cross like she was dead, as her body looked like it was not responsive. Asuka, hold on, we gonna get you free from there, Issei said as he was prepared to make a dash to Asuka to get her off the cross, but before he could run, Madara placed his arm in front Issei, indicating that he should wait. Hold on, Hayadu, something doesn't seem right about this, Madara said as he just kept his eyes on Asuka, noticing something different about her. After Madara made his statement, Asuka started responding. She was moving around, indicating she has just waken up from her sleep. Asuka, Issei cried out, trying to get her attention. Asuka heard him and started laughing in a sinister way, but with a dark and evil voice. Asuka, Issei called out one more time, but this time in a worried tone after hearing that menacing laugh. Asuka raised her head and so could have a clear look on the people who just entered the basement, and when she saw Madara she started smiling and licking her lips. When Madara got a visual on her, he was surprised to see the sudden change of appearance on Asuka, as now her hair changed color, with the left side of her hair being black and the right side being white. Not only that, but her eyes also changed colors, with her left eye being sliver and her right eye being black. Well, hello there, Issei-kun, Madara-sama, how have you two been? She questioned, but her voice kept changing, going from her normal voice to a more demonic-sounding voice. Asuka, are you alright? Of course, Issei-kun, I have never been better. As a matter of fact, this is the most alive I have ever felt, Asuka said, stretching her neck to get her blood flowing. We have come to take you home, Asuka, Issei stated, still being freaked out by her change in appearance as well as voice change. Now why would I do that, Issei-kun? She questioned, now looking Issei in the eyes. What do you mean? Asuka, you don't belong here. Asuka broke out a psychotic laugh, making everyone present stay on guard as her dark energy was flowing throughout the basement. Oh no, Issei-kun, I definitely belong here. Lord Cockabeel has opened my eyes and has awakened my full potential. Now I am no longer weak. After she said that, she broke out of the chains and landed elegantly on the floor below her. She then snapped her fingers and immediately the room was swarmed with patrol units, all having swords and magic wands ready to attack Madara and his group. Oh no, Madara-sama, you don't look too happy to see me, but I am over the moon in getting to see you again, and now since I have awakened my power, I can sense the deep reservoir of power your body holds, and it just makes me so hungry to have a bite of you, Asuka said with a sadistic smile on her face. Now then, all you patrols can attack who you like, but Madara is all mine, she said, now licking her lips. Speech, do not undermine the ability, Uchiha. Inner thought, is this what you meant, Hashirama? Just do, fire style fireball, just do. Asuka kept staring at Madara like he was a piece of meat, her appetite growing every second she kept on looking at him. That deep pool of power he has, it's making me so hungry. I just can't wait to have a taste of his body and to absorb that monstrous amount of power he has, Asuka thought to herself as she couldn't keep her eyes off Madara. Asuka, why the hell are you doing this? I thought you and Sensei had a bond, Issei stated, still hoping to talk some sense into his friend. Asuka just switched her gaze and was now looking at Issei with an evil smirk on her face. Issei was completely paralyzed by the look she was giving him. He took a deep breath and blinked his eyes, but when he opened his eyes, Asuka was standing right in front of him. Everyone there apart from Madara was completely shocked by the sheer speed of Asuka, as they didn't even see her move a muscle, and she just appeared in front of them, literally in a blink of an eye. What did Cockabeel do to this girl? Calawarner questioned herself, as she has never seen such a display of speed from a human before. Asuka placed her right hand on the left side on Issei's face and gave him a fake sympathetic look, showing that she really doesn't care what he thinks. Rainier saw this and her body began to fidget with discomfort as her protective instincts began to kick in. She gave Asuka a death glare, and was just waiting for her to make a move. Oh Issei, things have changed and my life has rearranged. Kakabeel-sama is who I have a bond with now. He is the one that has awakened my true potential, and the one I will follow, even if it's to the gate of Hades themselves. But what about Asia? Don't you care about her? Didn't you two have a sisterly bond? What about her? I care nothing of what happens to that girl. Those types of bonds will only slow me down. The only bond I need is with Kakabeel-sama. Trust me girl, you don't want to be that man's puppet. Donosike said as he could see Asuka has been consumed by madness. Asuka turned her head and was now looking at Donosike, with a disgusted look on her face. You four, how could you just go and betray Kakabeel-sama like that? Have you no loyalty? You decided to join forces with these two instead of staying with our lord and help him achieve glory. You four disgust me. This Kakabeel character is starting to get on my nerves, Madara said as he was looking at his surroundings, taking account of how many patrols have them surrounded. Asuka switched her gaze at a fast pace and was now giving Madara a death glare. That is Kakabeel-sama to you Madara, don't disrespect my lord like that. Child, I couldn't care less of what you say. That fool you hold so deep in your heart is nothing but an obstacle that is in my way. Asuka's blood began to boil and she slowly started to walk to Madara with her hands balled up into a fist. Take that back. What was that? Madara questioned, looking at her with a completely calm tone. I said take that back. Asuka screamed with a horrifying demonic roar and the whole basement began to shake uncontrollably and majority of people present began to lose their footing. Asuka then tried to punch Madara but her hand was grabbed by someone else and when she looked as to who grabbed her hand she immediately went down on her knees and bowed her head. Calm thyself my dear, we can't have you fighting just yet. Forgive me Kakabeel-sama, I let my emotions get the best of me. So you're Kakabeel huh? You don't seem that impressive to me, Madara said now looking at the man in front of him. Why yes I am, and you must the one they call Madara Uchiha. How do you know my name? You are a famous in the underworld. A human with the power to kill a high-class devil is bound to be the talk of the town. Kakabeel replied with a grin. HMPH I see news travels fast then. Indeed it does Madara. You have caught the attention of some very powerful as well as dangerous beings. I couldn't care less about them. Now give me the girl and I shall be on my way. Now you see that is something I just cannot do Madara. You see she needs me. She is like a loyal dog that only follows my lead. Issei's body began to shake in anger as this guy was really starting to piss him off. Rainier saw this and placed her hand on Issei's shoulder hoping to calm him down. Loyal dog you say? You are so pathetic that you are required to manipulate her mind in order for her to be your follower, Madara said as he kept looking at Kakabeel with a calm expression. Asuka's anger began to rise as she did not appreciate Madara disrespecting her beloved master. And I assume you didn't brainwash my subordinates to join you? Kakabeel questioned. We joined Lord Madara of our own free will. Middle interjected, hoping to set the record straight and support her new master. Well, there is your answer, Madara said. HMPH I would like to have a meeting with you, privately that is, Kakabeel said as he was looking at Madara's group. And if I refuse? Oh trust me, you won't want to refuse this proposal, Kakabeel stated keeping his smug grin. Madara just stood still and analyzed the man in front of him. Very well then let's see what you have to offer Crow. After Madara said that Kakabeel created a magic circle and teleported himself and Madara but before he left, he looked at Asuka and gave her a nod then disappeared. Asuka finally stood up to her feet and gave one more look to Madara's group before creating a magic circle of her own. Kill them all, was the last words she uttered before teleporting away to regroup with her master. Kakabeel's patrol army began to charge straight for Madara's group, leaving them completely outnumbered. Damn it, looks like we fighting our way out of here, Donosike said getting into a fighting stance. HMPH it's never easy is it? Calawarner said creating a light spear in her hand. Let's do this, Rainier concluded as she was now creating light spears in each of her hands, getting ready for this massive battle royal. Unknown location. Madara currently found himself in an abandoned old Catholic church. He took a moment to view his surroundings and realized that he was alone, or so he thought. Do you know who this is Madara? Kakabeel asked now appearing in front of a statue. No I don't, Madara stated now crossing his arms as Kakabeel's time wasting was starting to annoy the Uchiha. This man is one of the reasons I took Asuka from you and made her my pet. His name is Jesus and he is one of the greatest beings to have ever existed. Yes, Jesus died in the Great War. Well, his body died but his spirit is still alive. And I suppose the girl has this man's spirit within her, Madara assumed, wanting to get straight to the point. HMPH well aren't you sharp? Yes, she has his spirit and the spirit of another, the spirit of Jesus's opposite. Cockabeel said as he now made his way towards Madara. So that is why I could sense 2 spirits in the girl's body, so that means one of the spirits has taken hold of her consciousness. I'm assuming it's the negative spirit. That explains for her dramatic behavior, and since it's a negative consciousness it is much easier to control. This Cockabeel character knows what he is doing, Madara thought to himself. A black and white magic circle appeared behind Madara and it revealed Asuka. She walked past Madara and made her way towards Cockabeel, and when she was right in front of him she opened her arms and gave him a hug while snuggling her head into his chest. Cockabeel just smiled and stroked the top of her head as if she was his pet. Tell me, Madara, what is your plan here? I can tell you are a man of power as you don't seem fazed by the dramatic events happening around you. I wish to foster peace, that is all, Madara said, still keeping his calm expression. Peace ... HMPH ... peace, how I hate that word, Cockabeel stated as now his facial expression changed from one that was calm and charming to one that was bitter and furious. Madara noticed this change and began to ready himself for any sudden movements. You people and your peace can shove it up your ass. Nothing good comes from peace. Just boredom and settling with the enemy. I hate peace and I will eradicate anyone who believes in such bullshit. I crave war. I love war. I believe in war. I am war. That means you and I are enemies, Madara stated, now activating his Sharingan. Looks like it. Cockabeel then grabbed Asuka's ass and began to kiss her passionately in front of the Uchiha. When he pulled away from the kiss he brought his lips to her ear and whispered something to her. Kill this vermin for me, my dear, then report back to me as we need to go and collect the Excaliburs and begin my plan for war. Yes, Cockabeel-sama, your wish is my command, Asuka stated with a blush on her face and heavy breathing. Cockabeel gave her one more kiss then disappeared. Asuka was disappointed that the kiss ended quickly but soon realized that if she did a good job Cockabeel might reward her greatly. With newfound motivation Asuka faced Madara and began to lick her lips as she was finally ready to put an end to the Uchiha. So you are supposed to take me, oh. Madara couldn't finish his statement as Asuka dashed straight for him with obscene speed, ready to have a taste of her prey. She grabbed Madara's shoulders and forced him through the walls of the church and threw him towards the outside floor of the church building. Madara slowly got his footing and was able to regain his senses, however Asuka acted fast and dashed straight for Madara again, throwing punches and kicks at him. Madara was only barely able to block her attacks as her movements were at an elite level. Asuka tried to kick it up a notch and her hands and feet began to spew out a black aura that eventually covered their respective body parts. Asuka tried to give Madara a jab to the face but Madara caught her hand with his palm. Asuka smiled that Madara took the bait as that is exactly what she wanted the Uchiha to do. Madara felt a discomfort in his palm and soon started to notice that his palm was producing steam. He quickly let go of Asuka's hand and went on to examine his palm. When Madara saw his palm he could see that the black aura Asuka was emitting from her hands and feet were acting like an acid agent and it was eating the flesh on his palm. Madara forced some chakra to the palm of his hand and it was able to stop the black aura, but the damage was already done. Like my little trick, Madara, the power of the Antichrist allows me to produce a poisonous aura that decomposes anything it comes into contact with. Asuka then allowed the aura to surround her body and the environment around her began to decay. The concrete on her feet began to crack and decomposes, and the plant life around her began to wither and shrivel up. Madara remained silent and just observed this newfound power. Asuka pauses. Oh, what's wrong, Madara? Dark aura caught your tongue. Don't worry, you will be dyed shortly, Asuka said with a smirk, then created a sword out of the dark aura and its composition looked like it was made out of shadows and dark clouds. Asuka dashed straight for Madara but Madara, being well aware of what that aura does, just decided to just dodge her attacks but was having a hard time doing so. Asuka got tired of using the sword and decided to use the many more abilities in her arsenal. Let me try this out, Hell's Inferno, Asuka shouted out loud. She threw away the sword and expanded her body as now her body was covered in a hot white fiery aura. Oh, this should be fun, she thought to herself as now she pointed her hands towards Madara and began to blast him with a barrage of fire techniques. Madara performed a cluster of body movements and was able to dodge most of Asuka's fire attacks, but some were able to damage him. Madara began to breathe heavy as those fire attacks were doing serve damage on his body, and he could see that things were not going in his favor. Asuka watched this and was rather disappointed that the Uchiha barely challenged her at all. This is so disappointing, and the way you have been acting, I thought you would at least make me push myself, but from what I can see this has been a complete waste of time. You would probably taste ugly anyway. Asuka then created dragon-like wings that were coming out from her back, but these wings were completely composed of the dark aura and dark clouds. Well, I suppose I should end this, Asuka said in a bored tone. She began to gather a large amount of power, and the environment began to have a mini earthquake. Well, this is goodbye Madara, Hell's Blades. After Asuka said that, hundreds of dark and black blades began to hover around Madara, all of them pointing straight towards him. Finish him, with Asuka saying that all the blades charged at Madara and all of them found a way to piece his body. After a few minutes, Asuka dispelled the swords and Madara's body dropped to the ground, completely died. Asuka flew down to Madara's body and was beyond disappointed at the Uchiha's display. This was beyond boring and was just too easy. Oh well, I suppose I was just too powerful for him. Well, what can I say? I do possess the power of the Antichrist. Let me get rid of the evidence and regroup with Kakabeel-sama. Asuka looked at Madara's body one last time, then snapped her fingers and hot white fire began to burn the Uchiha's body until there was eventually nothing left. Asuka made sure no evidence of his body was left behind. Once she was sure, she flapped her wings and took flight, excited to regroup with her master. The area around the church was quiet and Madara's ashes flew into the night sky. After a few minutes, a tree that was in the garden began to change form and eventually changed to a human, and that human was Madara Uchiha. Genjutsu ha? Indra questioned. HMPH, you think I'm that weak to just die like a dog? Madara questioned. I would be disappointed if you did. I'm not that pathetic, Indra. Madara responded. So when did you activate it? Hagoromo interjected. The moment I was teleported to the church. I had both that fool and the girl under my genjutsu. I decided to just let things play through to see what is their plan and exactly how powerful the girl has become. And what is your analysis, my reincarnation? Indra questioned. From what I have gathered, that fool said he wishes to obtain the Excaliburs, whatever those are, and from observing the girl's power, it would seem that she is drawing her powers from one of the two spirits that reside in her body. I'm assuming it's the negative spirit, and that's why she is easily manipulated. She has grown in power, but it is nothing I cannot handle. However, she did call it the Antichrist. That devil king I met before probably has more information about Excalibur and the Antichrist. So what's your plan? Hagoromo questioned. I have the element of surprise. That insect and the girl will assume I am died. That will make me a ghost and will allow me to move around without a hassle and see what this whole plan of his is. For now, I will let him carry on with his agenda. What about your subordinates? Indra questioned. Oh right, I have new followers, don't I? I suppose they may need my help. Madara concluded, now looking at the moon in the sky. With Madara's group, it was a complete and utter war zone, as Madara's group was barely holding on but were keeping their ground. They were able to kill 100 of Kakabeel's patrol army, but they still had another 100 to go. Exhaustion seemed to be the group's best friend, as all of them were breathing heavily and were using their knees as support. Looks like this is it, Calawarner said as she was on the verge of dropping to her knees. Raynar, you look out. Issei shouted out loud as a magic attack was heading straight for Rainier. Rainier turned her head and could see the attack was heading straight for her and knew she didn't have the energy to dodge it. Rainier simply closed her eyes and waited for the impact of the attack. Nothing. A few seconds go by and Rainier feels nothing. She opens her eyes and sees a barely alive Issei standing in front of her, shielding her from the attack. Why Issei? Rainier questioned as tears began to form in her eyes. I don't know really. My body just kind of moved on its own. I couldn't bear to see you get hurt. But why me? I killed you the last time we met. That doesn't matter. It's in the past now. All I care about is the present, and I don't want to see you hurt anymore. Call it cliche, but I really care for you and I don't want to see you in pain. After Issei said that, he dropped to his knees and his breathing became heavier. Rainier rushed to him and placed his head on her lap and began caressing her savior's face. Don't die on me, Issei. You wouldn't want to leave your girlfriend all alone without having a proper date now, would you? Rainier said as she now couldn't hold back the tears. I'm sorry, Rainier. Looks like we won't be able to have that date after all, Issei stated with a gentle smile as his eyelids were becoming heavier. No. Not like this, Issei. Please, I beg of you. Don't leave me. Stay awake. God damn it, stay awake, Issei. Kakabeel's patrol unit didn't want to waste any more time and attacked the other members of Madara's group. Well, this at end of the road, Donosik said as he saw a barrage of attacks heading their way. Yeah, I really didn't enjoy my life to the fullest. Looks like things never go according to plan, Calawarner said, closing her eyes as she and the rest of them accepted their fate. A few seconds go by and nothing. They all opened their eyes and could see a giant wooden wall in front of them, protecting them from the patrol unit's attacks. Well, seems like you five have been having fun, Madara said as he appeared behind them. Hayao, you have been reckless, Madara said as he just looked down at Issei keeping his calm expression. Please my lord, is there any way you can save Issei from death? Rainer pleaded, desperate to find any way to keep Issei alive. Calm yourself, Hayao won't die. Well, not on my watch, Madara said as he now awakened his Rinnegan. Madara looked at the wooden wall and commanded it to drop down so he could have a clear visual on how many of Kokubil's patrol unit he would have to deal with. 100 of them. HMPH, I will end this in 5 seconds, Madara thought to himself as he raised his right arm and opened up the palm of his hands. Almighty push, Madara said in a bored tone, and it caused an incredible invisible force to act against the patrol unit as well as the rest of the building opposite Madara. The force was so great that not a single patrol unit could be seen and half of the building disappeared with them. Everyone's jaw dropped as they have never seen a human literally blow away 100 Soliders as well as half a building. Who is this guy? Warner questioned with her eyes wide open. He is our savior, Middle responded in complete awe of a new master's power. Madara summoned the King of Hell and made his way to Issei's body. He grabbed Issei's arm and threw him straight into the King of Hell's mouth, and it began to chew on Issei's body. What the hell are you doing? Rainer said in a distressed tone as she couldn't believe Madara just threw Issei into that thing's mouth. Madara just looked at her and it sent shivers down Rainer's spine. You dare question me, Madara said, making sure to release some of his power, and it caused Rainer to shiver even more. The King of Hell eventually spat out Issei and he was completely healed from his wounds. Oh shit, sensei, you the man, I'm completely healed now thanks to you, Issei said in a grateful tone as he kept on examining his body, seeing that he was completely healed. Rainer saw this and immediately felt remorse as she let her emotions get the best of her. Forgive me my lord, I didn't mean to offend you. I acted like a child and did not fully understand what it is you are doing. I am truly sorry, Rainer said while keeping her head bowed. The rest of you, enter the King of Hell's mouth and heal yourself. I cannot have you all moving around in these conditions. They followed Madara instructions and one by one they entered the King of Hell's mouth, and one by one they came out completely healed. Incredible, it's like we never had a battle. Just who are you? I have never seen a human being with a healing ability this advanced. Even Twilight healing cannot heal this fast, Rainer said in complete amazement of her master's ability. The answer to your question is simple. I am the Messiah and the future. I am the end and the beginning. I am Madara Uchiha, the sage of the 6 paths of this world, Madara stated with his Rinnegan glowing as bright as the moon. Everyone else found his speech a bit dramatic, but it also gained their respect. Rainer made her way to Issei as there was something she really wanted to say to him. You idiot, don't ever scare me like that, Rainer said as she clinged onto Issei's body. I'm sorry, Issei said with a gentle smile as he returned the hug and embraced Rainer. Rainer released a few tears but after a while was able to regain her composure and looked at Issei right in the eye. Hey, I want to ask you something. What is it? Issei asked with a slight blush on his face as he has never had a girl's face this close to his before. Look, I know we had a bad first interaction when me and you met, but I want to start over and I want to try have a real relationship with you. I am developing feelings for you because I have never been treated like this before, and to be honest, I really like it. So what do you say? Rainer asked with a slightly shy and embarrassed look on her face. Issei didn't need to give her words as he just kissed her on the lips, giving her his answer. Rainer was surprised by Issei's sudden bold action but really did enjoy it and deepened the kiss, making it last for a few minutes. Alright, you two get a room, Warner said, getting annoyed at the public display of affection. Rainer and Issei pulled away from the kiss with Issei having a dazed look on his face and Rainer giggling at how cute Issei looked right now. So what's the plan, my lord? Middle questioned. Let us head home for now. I have some questions I wish to ask you for. Madara then made his way to his new followers and used Kamui to teleport all of them to his apartment. Nice place you got here, my lord, Donosik said, admiring Madara's apartment. Madara made his way to the lounge and found that it was empty. He assumed Nikki and Asia were asleep. He made his way to his favorite chair and took a seat. He then created a shadow clone to go to Asia's room and explain to her what is going on with Asuka while he deals with his new subordinates. Take a seat, there is much to discuss, Madara said, now deactivating his Rinnegan. The rest of them followed his lead with Warner and Donosik sitting next to each other on one of sofas, Issei taking up another sofa with Rainer sitting on his lap, obviously wanting to be as close as possible to her new boyfriend. Middle followed Rainer's example and decided to have a seat on Madara's lap. And what exactly do you think you're doing? Madara questioned while raising his eyebrow. Having a seat on my big brother's lap, Middle replied with a cheeky grin. Elder brother. Yes, I want you as my big brother. I always wanted one, and the fact you are a leader that hasn't inflicted pain on us but rather protected us from pain. makes you the perfect candidate. Middle concluded, now snuggling her head on Madara's chest. For peace to be achieved, both strength and love are necessary. Remember, those were your words, my reincarnation. Indra's voice kept echoing in Madara's mind. Fine, now let us get back to business. What do you Fallens know about Excalibur? Madara questioned, now resting his cheek on his fist. Alright then, Excalibur is one of the 4 holy swords forged by God. This is God of the Bible I am referring to, and he gifted it to his only son Jesus Christ as a reward for fulfilling his destiny and dying for the sins of God's people. Cal Warner explained. However, with the death of Jesus in the Holy War, Excalibur was taken back to heaven and God placed the sword on a large rock somewhere on earth, and he only allowed the worthiest of men to wield the sword. Many tried but failed until eventually one man was worthy enough to wield the sword. Donasik said. That man was the legendary King Arthur, and he used it to rule Europe and form the United Kingdom. However, there came a point where the original Excalibur was broken, and the pieces were made to make 7 different swords, all with the name Excalibur. Rainer continued the explanation. 2 of the blades are known to be stored in the Catholic Protestant Church of England. However, one is sealed and the other 4 are scattered all over the world. Cockabeel's mission is to retrieve all 7 Excaliburs and use them to restart the Great War that ended in a tie. Middle concluded. Interesting, and this Jesus character, how powerful was he? Madara questioned. Where do we even start? The man was at least top 5 strongest beings when he was alive. A complete and utter freak in terms of power. Jesus could handle almost all opposition on his own. Donasik stated. Jesus was one of the very few beings that struck fear into most religions, beliefs, gods, cultures, and other beings. If he entered the battlefield, you would know that shit is going down. Rainer continued the explanation. I see. So that must be the other spirit that resides in the girl's body, because she did mention something about using the power of the Antichrist. The Antichrist is known to be Jesus's complete opposite and the original Lucifer's firstborn. He is the embodiment of evil and a force so vile its main purpose is to bring destruction and chaos, for the glory of the devils and its father. Cal Warner explained. Madara just paused and allowed his brain to digest the information. After a few minutes he began to form a hypothesis in his mind. So let us evaluate the situation at hand. The girl has arguably 2 of the most powerful spirits in Christian belief, and that insect knew he wouldn't be able to tame Jesus's spirit, so instead he went after the other one, hoping he can use the power of the Antichrist to start a war, which means the girl's consciousness is being controlled. Madara, though, to himself. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Madara? Hagoromo questioned as he was listening to Madara's hypothesis. Yes, it does, Sage. The situation the girl finds herself in is similar to that of the tailed beasts and the Jinchuriki, which can only mean that the girl's willpower is slowly fading away, and if the Antichrist spirit continues to dominate her mind, her consciousness will disappear, and the Antichrist will have full control of her body, Madara stated, finishing off Hagoromo's sentence. She needs to be able to control those 2 beings within her, otherwise she will be a mindless force of power that just seeks for destruction. She needs you, Madara, you need to do something. Hagoromo stated, concluding the mental conversation they were having. Is everything alright, big brother? Middle questioned in a worried tone as she saw Madara in deep contemplation. Madara just looked at Middle as her question just broke his train of thought. What the plan, big brother? For now we do nothing. Let that fool collect the swords. We will strike when the time is right and collect all the swords for my gain. Madara said. Hoo-oh, I like that. Let Cockabeel do all the hard work for you. How very cunning of you, my lord. Cal Warner stated. Oh, I got an idea. How about we transfer to my baby's school? Rainer said as she was giving Issei a seductive look. Wait, really? Issei questioned with a slight blush on his face. Oh, come on, Rainer. We'll all know you just want to spend more time with Issei over here. Donasik said in an annoyed tone. Actually, I wouldn't mind going to school. It could be fun. Middle interjected. You must be joking, Middle. Oh, come on, Donasik. This could be fun. Think of all the young girls you could have fun with. Cal Warner said as she also was enjoying the idea of enrolling into a high school. Really now ... and I suppose you are going there for all the young boys on the campus? Donasik questioned. Actually, Issei interests me more, Cal Warner said, giving Issei a seductive wink. Rainer saw this and brought Issei closer to her, displaying her protective side as she does not want to share Issei with anyone else. So what do you say, big brother? Are you gonna let us enroll in Issei's school? That is fine for the time being. As I said before, we need to lay low so you 5 going to school can be a good cover-up. Madara said. Fuck really, damn it, I hate school. Donasik complained. However, some of you may need to perform that ability of yours, Rainier. We cannot have you looking the way you are. You will all need to appear younger, Madara stated. Sure thing, my lord. Fine. Thanks, big brother. This is gonna be so much fun, Issei. How did this just happen? Issei asked himself. The next morning, Asia woke up more earlier than usual, so she decided to make her bed and make her way towards the lounge. As she was making her way towards the lounge, she thought she was the first one awake, but as she took a few more steps, she could see that Madara was there and it looked like he was meditating. Good morning, big brother. How are you today? Madara broke out of his meditation as he heard Asia's voice. Asia, you up early today? Asia made her way towards one of the sofas, then took a seat as she wanted to have a conversation with her older brother. Yeah, big brother, I just lost the desire to sleep, so your clone told me Asuka has joined the bad guys, she said with a slightly depressed tone. Not necessarily. It's not that she joined them of her own free will, it's that she is being manipulated and her mind is not in her complete control. Oh, that kinda makes me glad. I was worried that she just decided to leave us and join someone else. No, her behavior is too drastic for to just join of her own free will. Physically she is alright, however her mind is under siege and we will need to prepare to help her when we encounter her again. I feel confident with you leading the charge, big brother. You always seem to have a plan in your head, Asia said with a warm smile. Of course, give it time and we shall retrieve the girl. Just need to time things right. I also wanted to talk about something else, big brother. What is it? I hate being a damsel in distress. I wanna help, big brother. I wanna be of use to you. I hate just sitting at home doing nothing, just hoping and praying things go well. So you wish to assist the Uchiha? Yes, big brother, whatever it takes. I just don't want to be the useless little sister. So I beg you, please train me, big brother. Just like how you are training Aiz-kun. She is a healer. I suppose I could use the example of Hashirama and train her to the level where she can constantly heal herself at will. Her range of healing would also have to improve and we will need to work on her defense. This should be an interesting. Madara thought to himself. Very well then, we will commence with your training after school. For now, wake up your new schoolmates and prepare yourself for the day. Sure thing, big brother. The gates of Kuo Academy. I fucking hate my life, Don Hasik said in a depressed tone as he was now going to enter a place that in his opinion was far worse than hell. Quit your whining. It's not like we going to war, Rainier said. The fallen angels apart from Middle were all using magic to alter their appearance, so they could all look like high school students. Enough of your bickering, you two. Let us get this over and done with, Madara said as he entered the school grounds, making his way to the principal's office. His followers decided to shut their mouths and follow their master as they were making their way through the school grounds. Rainier and Calawarner got a lot of attention from the male population of the school, while Donasek got a couple of looks from the girls. Disgusting, Donasek said. Rainier decided to lock arms with Issei, signaling to the male population that she was taken, and when they saw her do this they lost their minds as never in their life did they ever think the perverted Issei Hayao would ever get a girlfriend. Calawarner decided to take the lock arms with Issei as well, and this caused Issei to be the target of a large amount of killing intent and hatred. This should be fun, Middle stated. The principal's office. So let me get this straight. You wish to enroll 4 new students, Mr. Uchiha? That is correct. Madara was currently negotiating with the principal of the school to allow his new followers to enroll into Kuo Academy mid-year. But it's the middle of the year, Mr. Uchiha. So, you must understand I just can't allow anyone to enroll into this educational institution whenever they like. Let's try this again. You will allow these 4 to enroll into this school, no questions asked, Madara commanded, now activating his Sharingan and casting a Genjutsu. Of course, Mr. Uchiha, I wouldn't dare wish to oppose you. You 4, could you please follow me? I need you to sign some papers and we will get you a suitable uniform. Knock knock. Come in, the principal said. Good morning, principal. I have arrived here because I wish to have a chat with Mr. Uchiha. So you have personally come for me, huh, Citri? Madara said with a smirk, now looking at Sona as she was the one who entered the principal's office. Yes, could you please come with me, Mr. Uchiha? Sona requested in a shy and flustered tone. HMPH, very well then. You 4 sort yourselves out. I will meet with you at the end of the day, Madara said as he now got off his seat and made his way to Sona. Well, lead the way, Citri. They both left the office and made their way to student council room. Well done, Nasik, are you coming or not? Rainier questioned as she could see Donasek was a bit hesitant in leaving the office. You guys go on ahead, I will catch up with you in a few minutes. But you don't even know where we are going. How do you expect to catch up to us? Calawarner asked. Don't fucking worry about that. I just need a minute to myself, okay? I need to compose myself because I fucking hate this shithole that you call a school. Let's just leave him already. Middle interjected. Whatever, don't fall too behind Donaseek, Rainier said. The girls then left with the principal, leaving Donaseek all to himself. He made double sure to check he was completely alone, and when he was sure, he closed the door to the principal's office, then created a small magic circle in front of his mouth. Lord Cockabeel, I have successfully entered QO Academy just as you wished, Donaseek said, now communicating through the magic circle. Well done, my subordinate. You will be rewarded immensely for your loyalty to me. Cockabeel's voice could be heard from the magic circle. So what's the plan, my lord? We will send a message to Madara Uchiha in the next few minutes. However, for now I need you to kidnap someone for me, as well as plant a little surprise for me, as that is the devil's territory, and I would love to send my formal invitation to Sirzech on reigniting the flames of war. As you wish, my lord, it will be done. Good, we fallen angels will rise to the top, and I shall become the new god of Christianity. The flames of war will burn in our favor, and we shall rule as the superior race. All hail Lord Cockabeel, Donaseek concluded. The student council room. How on earth did you find as well as ally yourself with the Dracula? Also, since when are you associated with the fallen angels? Sona shouted. We currently find Madara and Sona in the student council room, with Sona barking at Madara at the top of her lungs. Madara just remained calm, not wanting to entertain Sona's idiotic outburst. You done? Madara questioned, not wanting to waste any more of his time. Answer my question first. Madara began to release some of his power, spreading a very ominous aura around the room, which caused every devil present to feel extremely uneasy. Madara then activated his Sharingan and looked straight at Sona, which caused her to shiver in fear. Sona kept staring at Madara, and the more she kept staring at him, the more she could see an ethereal blue-like spirit surround him, and it made her extremely anxious. Listen here, girl. I do not owe you or anyone else an explanation of what I do. You are not my ally, therefore it is none your business. If you continue to pester me, I will show you how an Uchiha can dance. Do we understand each other? Sona couldn't find the words to explain it, but with Madara showcasing his dominance, it was causing her heart rate to go through the roof. Although his power is terrifying, it was also extremely attractive for her. Something about being at his mercy was driving her crazy. UHMMM yeah sure I understand. Good now. Bang. Madara couldn't finish his statement as he and Sona were interrupted by Issei, who just barged in the room, breaking down the door in the process. SENSEI we have a problem, Issei stated in between breaths, as it could be seen that something bad was bothering him. What is it, Hayao? They took. Explosion. A huge explosion could be seen outside the window of the student council room, and it immediately caught everyone's attention. Big brother, master, my lord, are you okay? Calawarner questioned as all of his fallen angels apart from Donaseek barged in the room. That explosion, it looks like it's coming from the apartment complex, Issei stated with a horrified look on his face. Madara didn't waste time and teleported to his apartment complex using Kamui, leaving everyone else behind. When Madara finally reached the gates of the apartment complex, he was greeted by an enormous explosion with a roaring fire that was burning everything on sight. The apartment complex was completely destroyed with all his stuff in it. Madara turned his head to the left and could see Nikki with 6th-degree burns all over her body. It was not a pretty sight. Nikki, what happened here? Madara questioned as he made his way to Nikki. They have Madara. Who Nikki? The man the was with he the Fedora. Madara's facial expression grew cold as his anger was slowly starting to boil. He said it is for the glory of KOKABIEL and fallen angels. Madara's anger grew even more after hearing that name. Nikki then placed one of her hands on Madara's face, then gave him a gentle smile. It's been fun knowing you, Madara Uchiha. Nikki couldn't finish her sentence as the light in her eyes faded away, signaling the end of her life. Madara took hold of her head and decided to brush his hand over her face in order to close her eyes and put her body to rest. Sensei, is that? Issei didn't finish his sentence as he and the fallen angels finally caught up to him, but the scene in front of them was too grim to explain. Issei made his way to Nikki's body and began to shed a tear as he was starting to form a younger brother, older sister type bound with the now deceased Nikki. There was complete silence for a few good minutes. Rainier decided to go to Issei's side in order to comfort her now in pain lover. Vidal tried to do the same for her older brother, big brother. "Are you okay?" Middle asked in a concerned tone as she could see her brother's eyes. That Cockabeel does not know the man he has just angered. He does not know the hate of the Uchiha. I will bestow upon him an experience worse than death, worse than torture, worse than pain. His life is now in my hands," Madara stated with his Rinnegan activated, continuing to look at Nikki's burnt face. Madara then began to release some of his power and a dark aura spread through the area, scaring the shit out of the Fallens. Issei was in a similar state of anger as his eyes changed from its normal hazel color to a glowing green emerald color. That bastard, he brainwashed Asuka, kidnapped Asia, and now has killed Nikki. He needs to pay, Issei said with his voice changing from its normal tone to one of an angry dragon. A blue flame began to surround Madara, and Middle found it wise to step back and give Madara some space as she can see he is in a bad state. Madara now stood up and faced his followers and gave them all a cold look. "I give you one final chance, Fallens. Choice your side. Are you with me, or are you with that soon-to-be-dead insect? Make your decision now." His followers didn't even think twice. They bowed before him, signaling to him that they are on his side no matter the consequence and opposition. "Very well then. That insect will feel my wrath. That insect will fear the hate of the Uchiha," Madara stated as an ethereal blue spirit grew around his body. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through What If Madara Was in DXD. Found it as intriguing and thought-provoking as we did. A big shout out to the Uchiha Wannabe for crafting such a compelling story. Don't forget to check out their profile on Wattpad for more amazing works. The link is in the description below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to Fanfic Fantasy for more fascinating explorations into the world of fanfiction and fantasy. Your support helps us create more content like this, and we're always excited to hear your thoughts and suggestions in the comments section. See you guys in the next video.